Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi,
Good
I can.
morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, I was having trouble connecting this morning. I'm like, oh no, people are waiting.
No, you're fine.
Good morning. Hi, Karen. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be here. Nice to meet
Oh,
you,
I'm
Diana.
glad to meet you too. I do know Karen, but don't think I've met you, have I? Nope,
I
I
don't
haven't
think
seen you
so.
yet. All right, that's great. I love seeing new people. So, I'm looking for a second here at the roster for your name. For your last name, Sarah
Usser. C like
Presser.
Charlie, Usser.
Perfect. There you go.
Yeah,
You there. Do you mind? Do you know how to change your name in Zoom?
I
If
do.
so, can you add your last name?
Yes,
And you'll hear me repeat that to people who are new to me. When I do attendance, I have to use the roster, and
for
then
sure.
I need the last name. The first name can be anything you want to be called. So if Sarah's what you want to be called, that's fine. But some people put Robert and they want to be Bob, for example. But the last name has to be what's on the roster. So
Yeah.
that one really helps. All right, perfect. So nice to see you again, Karen. And have you taken my Illustrator class before, Karen? Because I know you're in my Photoshop class.
Yeah, no, I've never taken it. Yeah.
Illustrator is new to you. Okay, great. And how about you, Sarah? What experience do you have, if any, with Illustrator?
No experience.
Okay. And with any Adobe product whatsoever?
No experience. I've
Okay,
been
good.
using PowerPoint a tremendous amount to make plots and figures and stuff professionally and
Well,
personally. So I
there you
thought
go.
this
So
would
so what
be.
is it that you make, you said?
I work at the Santa Barbara Botanic Garden. I'm a
Oh,
researcher and we do a lot of communication with the public.
oh,
And so
wonderful.
we have a whole department that does this, but I thought I would be more helpful to them if I could meet them
Know some of them.
halfway. Yeah,
Yeah. That's great. Well, you might be interested later in my digital design techniques class too, then, and
I
that's it.
think so.
Are you in that one too?
I'm not, but
Or
I
not?
think I
Oh,
might
okay.
want to
Only
be.
because you started nodding, and I'm like, because that's also part of, the kind of stuff that you would do there. Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. So, I expect a few more. Let me just look at the roster, because a lot of the times people that I have in one class is people that are in another. But so since the beginning of the class is technically people who I do not know, there should be some more people coming early on. The other thing about that is that a lot of people who, even if they assume they know Zoom, so they don't come at the beginning, which obviously, I mean, you guys know Zoom. But I'm gonna see one, two, three. I have about three or four new people. The thing is that for some of them, I didn't have their personal email. Anyway, you'll notice that I send these emails, the link emails, to personal and pipeline. Um, but that doesn't mean that people check pipeline. So I checked a personal, but I don't have the personal email of some. They've changed how we have our rosters. So although I have a full class, I'm not sure that everyone's going to make it today. So we'll figure it out. So never mind. Here's the point. We don't start with Illustrator until we're done with getting everyone set up. And I just want to know, because I know Karen, so I'm going to ignore you for a minute, Karen, because I know you're all set up with all the programs and everything. Sarah, how about you? Do you have Illustrator? Did you get onto VDI?
No, I have not yet.
Okay, so then that's going to take some time. So we're going to work on that. I'm going to wait until a few other people arrive then to start with the basic how I do with Zoom, because I want to make sure everyone else who's here gets that too, because
Hmm.
for sure getting on VDI is going to be quite a bit. Now, did you get my email with all the prep you had to do to get on VDI?
I am not totally sure. I got the email that you sent 16 hours ago about the three
Okay.
groups, and then let me see if I also got.
Well, never mind. If you didn't, that means you didn't do it, because there's quite a bit of
Okay.
prep
Okay.
I said it about a week ago. And some people weren't registered a week ago, so then they got it only 2 days ago. It depends. Okay. So, in order to access the applications, you need to, well, do you know your pipeline username and password?
Yes.
Okay. Did you set up two-factor authentication?
I believe I have.
How
Let
about we
me,
check? First of all,
yeah.
do you know how to share your screen?
Yes, let me log into SBCC and make sure I do have.
Well, I have, if you need, I know your username, but I don't know your password.
Oh, do you have my username?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's SCUSSER.
CR. Okay. Um,
So just so you know, the way this class works, as you're looking for that, I'm mentioning,
mhm,
is that I'm constantly having people share their screen, so this is normal, right? Because then
okay.
if everyone's doing this stuff, and then if you're stuck somewhere, the easiest way is to share your screen, and I'll help you. And to set up the whole VDI thing, if you haven't done it at all, the easiest thing is for you to share your screen. I walk you through it as you're doing it. Okay, that's fine.
Is the end of the, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
I can't remember my full email address.
Oh, but you don't need it
I
for,
just need my username.
you just need your username.
Okay.
You will need the full email address for Adobe once we get into VDI. But no.
I
So do
just
you know what
never,
VDI is, by the way, when I'm saying getting into VDI? Okay.
no.
So basically, you're going to access a software that allows you to use, basically, it's like you travel to the school computers from your home
Okay,
and you use Illustrator on the school computer. Um, Later, when you're done, you can check the email again to see in case you want to purchase the software and all that. Then I have all that information on that email as well. But for now, all that
okay.
matters is getting you on for today.
So I believe I've shared my
Okay.
screen with me logged into my pipeline.
Your pipeline is in, and did you have two-factor authentication set up to get in or not?
Um, I don't think I did actually.
We'll find out now because what we're gonna do is let's go ahead and head over to try to get your VDI set up. So VDI is
Okay.
something you do on your browser, so whatever browser you're using is good. Are you a Mac or a PC? Well, it looks like you're a
M-
PC. Okay, from what
Mac, actually.
you're on a Mac.
Hmm.
And you have what's okay, and all those things that you have on the top are different tabs.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just that no, the reason I'm saying that is because this is going to be pretty computer intensive.
Uh,
So it would be good if you can,
yeah,
if those aren't urgent,
no, they're
to
not.
actually close some tabs because you're going to be now. Are you on what browser are you using?
Chrome.
Okay, so for BDI, that's fine. All right, cool. So now go to VMView, like yeah, VMView perfect dot sbcc dot edu. And now we're going to click on the right side. Nope, not that one. The right one. Yep. I'm going to click on that one. And then you have not enrolled in those. Okay, so we need to set you up. So go to the account management page. See the link there that says go to the, yeah. All right, so then go to over here where it says registered phones. Okay. And I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to stop the recording for just a sec. Okay. Good, recording again. All right. So now let's go back to that page where the tab where you had the VM view. Um
Oh,
okay, so then
Um,
we just need to go again. So go back up to the top here and let's just go again with vmview.sbcc.edu.
oh,
Like just we're just going there again.
oh,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Cool. And this time when it lets you in, put in
yes.
your code. Perfect.
8, 7, 1, 10. You're really good at explaining this as I go. I feel like
Thank you.
I'm
This is why
terrible
it's
at
faster.
this.
All right, now we're going
Yeah.
to go to student desktop. Thank you, by the way. That's called, unfortunately, too many years of doing this. All
Oh
right,
no.
okay, then say okay again, then say okay again. Okay, now we're going to wait like 30 seconds or so until your computer connects. So basically, you're traveling to school, doo-doo-doo-doo, you're getting to a school lab, and you're going to walk into a school computer, and it's going to be a Windows computer, which for
Okay.
Mac people, it's not a big deal. I'll show you the few things that matter, but we need to wait for it to turn on. Ta-da, toodaloo, toodaloo, toodaloo. Now, when it uh, when you do get ready to go and everything is set up, which is we still have quite a few steps, um,
Hmm.
then other people begin to arrive. And if I have to wait a while before we use all this, if it's
Hmm.
still not ready yet, so give it a minute, then the VDI kind of disconnects if it doesn't get used, say in 10 minutes. So what you need to do is keep like now and then clicking on something to make it know you're still there
Okay.
so that when we're ready to use it, it's still live. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, good. So now the rest of the stuff is coming in and perfect. All right. So now you're in the Windows computer. This
Hmm.
computer has, there's two things we still need to do before we open Illustrator, and one of them is we need to connect with Google Drive, where the class files are. So can you go to the search there and click on Google Drive? Go down here in the search. Hold on. I forget you're a Mac person. Here's the Windows search. And then go ahead and write Google Drive. Yep, click on that. And everything that we're doing right now, you need to do every time you get in.
Okay.
At the end of the class, you have to walk out of VDI in a certain way. So don't just leave. Wait until I show you how to leave. Okay. Sign in.
Okay.
And this is the time when you need your entire email address. So now it's skusser@pipeline.sbcc.edu. And you're going to have to write it a few times if you want to copy paste because you're
Thank you.
See, I can tell who's good with computers that I can say that because you're really good with computers if you don't know Illustrator, but other people you say that and they're like, what? Okay, so close on this up there. We're
Okay.
done. Now, one more thing about Google Drive. Now it's going to try to talk you through this whole tour. You don't need that. You can close that up there. Yeah. Okay. So just that part you can quit. Okay. Now, and that one you can quit as well. All right, so Google Drive is up and running, and or so we hope, because sometimes it takes two tries. It's kind of weird, BDI in that sense. But now, let's go and make sure it's connected and go to that's like the Finder window on a Mac. And here you are. Yeah, Google Drive's connected. So go ahead and click on Google Drive and shared drives, and then click on Illustrator shared drive. Okay, now this guy here. Follow shared class files, do a
Oh, sorry.
right click and copy. It's okay. Right click and copy. Whoops. Do you know right click? Hold on.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. No biggie. And double click on that. So just to know, because do you do right click on it? Because if you're a Mac person, some Mac people don't know right click. Are you on a
Yeah.
touchpad or are you on a mouse?
I'm on,
Are you on
I
a
know how to
touchpad?
right click.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a
But
touchpad, then it's two fingers down. Select it first. So
uh,
select it first. Okay, and now two fingers down. There we go. And now do wait.
sorry.
It's a copy, but you don't seem to have the copy, right? There it is. Copy. Cool. So this is the one that everyone uses. Now I want to take you back to Google Drive and you're gonna go into whoop. No, no, I was pointing to where you had to go. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, it's all right. Go back to the Finder window. No, no problem. No need to apologize. You're just so fast that I'm not speaking fast enough for you. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the Google Drive here or there. It doesn't matter. If you do it, and then now, okay, so we took from the shared drives, we took the folder, you've copied it. Now
Hmm.
your drive is under my drive. So we're gonna double click my drive. And now you're gonna right click and paste. So two fingers down and paste. Cool. So now these files are coming into your pipeline school Google Drive, and that way you can modify. Because the shared drive ones, you can't save or do stuff to, but these now are yours. And so from here, you're going to source your files for the class.
Awesome.
Cool. Now, what else? This we don't need. Autodesk account, and this is new. It's been turning on, and I want to have tech support tell me why, but it's not needed for our class. Okay, good. It's copied. You're ready to go. You can probably close this now, and you can still close that one. All right, so now we are going to go get Illustrator, which you will get also from down here from the search. and Illustrator. Cool. You're going to open that up. And before you start, before you open that up, how about
Mhm.
we say these two? We're going to do pin to start and then pin to taskbar. We're going to do both. We're going to click it one time. Okay, so now you have it pinned there, like kind of like the Mac, the dock Mac, where it just sits there.
Nice.
And then you
Thanks.
don't have to worry about this anymore. So now you can kind of click away to get this to go away. I want to see what this is. I think this is part of that Autodesk again. Can you click on this gray box that's appearing there in the background?
Oh,
Oh,
not responding.
they're not responding. Okay, let's see if this opens up. I haven't seen that box yet. No, don't.
Hmm.
I don't, yeah. Okay. This one you need to do one time and never again. Again, your entire email address. Oh, you pasted some other stuff. So
Yeah.
right now it doesn't matter. Well, sometimes people have to
CCC.
do the Google Drive a few times. It's nope, hold on. It's pipeline.sbcc.edu.
Yeah.
Cool. Continue. So this is all the Adobe programs need to know you're you, and then this one you won't have to do it. The one that you need to do every time is the pipeline. Um, is the Google Drive that you need to do every day. But this one once is enough. It never needs you anymore. Say continue. And you're good to go. All right,
Wow.
here we are. All right, and then just rather quickly, if you go up to file, I just want to make sure that you have all the classes available to you. Say that we were to want to open, we're not going to start with new files, but you can open a new file from File New Open or from File Open just to make sure that you can access the Google Drive from here. So now here on the left side of your screen, there it is, Google Drive. Double click on My Drive now. Follow Illustrator class files, and here we go. All right, so we're not going to open anything right now, but there you go. You can cancel, and you're set.
Awesome. Thank you so
Cool.
much, Diana.
You're welcome. And by the way, not that I'm too picky about it, but since you did say Diana, just so you know, I'm Diana.
Diana. Oh,
No,
thank you.
no, no, not important. Don't
My
make.
mom's name is Diana,
Oh,
so
so it's
you
going to
will
be
have
impossible. It's going to
not
be impossible for
impossible.
you. Oh yeah,
It's not
yeah.
impossible, but I do
People who
appreciate
know Diana's that have a hard time saying Diana and vice
Diana.
versa, right? So it's okay.
I can do it
Just
though. Just
no,
remind me.
no, but no biggie. I always just say it one time. After that, it's not like it bothers me too much. But hey, if I have a chance to
Yes, thank you.
say it, I'm fine with
Thank
that.
you for correcting me.
Um,
And apologies when I call
oh,
you Diana in the future.
it, got it. At most, I might correct you so other people like
Yes.
not correcting you, but hey, by the way, you guys, you know
Yeah,
how.
it's Diana.
It's I'm from Argentina, and so
Oh, cool.
I say it in Spanish, and that's all. But I
Yes.
understand that. Whatever. In my current Mac class, I have a Diane, a Diana, and me. Yeah. It's
Diana.
only happened once that I've had three. This is the first time that I have three in my same class. It's kind of funny. It's the second time. I mean, the other time was many, many years ago. Usually it's
Many years
maybe
ago.
one, maybe two, but never three. So one of each kind, right?
Yeah, no, and I'm sensitive to it because my mom, Diana, gets called Diane a lot and it does bother her. And
Yeah,
so I
I'm not a
try.
Diane. It's a different name.
It's a totally different name, and you're
The names
Diana.
are not this different. And if someone's
Yeah.
Elizabeth and they called Liz, well, they kind of would expect it, right?
Mhm.
But it's like suddenly being called Elisabetta or something. Like that's not my name.
Exactly. Liza. No, totally
Eliza.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah. So anyway. All right. So looking at the time, 9:20. All right. So the other new people don't seem to be here, which is not good.
They
Um
might already have everything down. Just I was the one
no.
weird one who didn't.
No. Well, I very few people know VDI unless they've actually used it or they followed all the steps and they're waiting. But even if not, they should be here anyway. So many during this time that we're chatting here is when usually I have everyone download the class files and when they have Illustrator, but when they don't have Illustrator, they've either done the VDI stuff because the email kind of worked them through it, or they need help. And usually there's 2 to 5 people. And so this would get repeated, but but if no one else is coming, I'm kind of at a loss here a little bit. Okay, so here, well, not at a loss. I've always things I can do and talk and teach. That's not a pleasure, but I don't know. I'm looking at the roster and we've had some issues with ghost registrations where people who aren't going to take a class are getting in and we're supposed to flag them out
Oh,
because they get financial aid and they're not supposed to and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if I'm looking at if they're from Santa Barbara. Sometimes they can be from any part of the state to be in this school, but sometimes you can tell. Um, no, they have addresses. They have, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what is happening. Okay. They either will or won't come. Whole point is that since I told everyone else not to come till 10, I have a couple more things left that are just part of the class. One of them is that when we sign in, the first thing, add your last name. And the reason I'm saying add your last name is because however you're signed up for in Zoom, that's how you'll appear every day. So you will always be Sarah C. Unless
hmm.
you change it in the settings. So just know that when you come in, just do the little renaming thing. And then when you come in also, we're going to head over to the chat and we're going to go a little, hey, good morning. So I'm going to go say good morning in the chat right there. Cool. And everyone should say that because that's also part of attendance. If for any reason things don't pop in, then so everyone give me a little, you don't need to say good morning. You can say whatever you feel like. And it's also a good thing. It's like, oh my God, it's raining. Or in our case, yes, it's raining. But no, but what we need to do also is this would be a good time if you've had a week in between classes and you have questions and there's things that came up that did or didn't work for you, that when you're trying to do something, this would be a good place to write down questions or something like that. The next thing is going to be that we're going to show you how to access the class files. And I'm going to show this assuming that everyone else who comes is people who already know, because by now, otherwise, the people who don't know should be here. So I'm moving on to that part of it. Um, you know how through VDI I took you to the class files by going to shared drives and all that's a Google Drive, which is fine for how we're going to do from inside of Illustrator, those files. But when you're not in class, you don't need to be in VDI. Say that you're just wanting to access the class files, but you're not about to work in Illustrator. So you don't need to be in VDI. You can be in any browser. So I'm going to show you now how to get into to a browser to get the class files. Also, because in the class files, I have links to the class recordings, links to handouts and stuff like that. Um, so you can do it within the Google Drive there that's inside of your VDI that you're seeing, but you can also do it in a different tab. The most important thing right now when you're in this tab, don't back out of this tab. You know how when you go back and forth or whatever, if you back out, you're going to leave VDI. So anything else you do, if you're using the same browser, is open a new tab and then do everything on a new tab and then leave this tab, like I said, every now and then come back to it and click it so it stays alive. Um, or just use the software that's inside of the browser at this point, because it's just about learning how to get in there. So let's go ahead and open a new tab or open the Google Drive that's there on the VDI. And now I'm going to share my screen. That way we see also when I share my screen, you get to, hold on. I don't have I'm signed in, so I need to sign out of my stuff to show how to sign in. Give me a second there. Okay, so now I'm gonna be looking a little bit less like I'm looking at you because I moved you guys over to a different uh, computer. All right, so now let me share my screen. Okay, so when I share my screen, do you have one monitor, two monitors, two computers, one monitor? Okay, do you have anywhere nearby another monitor, an iPad, or anything like that? Some people do, some people don't.
I don't on me, but I have one at work.
Okay, because see what happens when I share my screen.
Hmm.
Now, I'm kind of, the first thing that should happen is that I'm taking over your screen. And thus, if that's so, then in order to move me over so that you can, I'm going to demo stuff and you work at the same time. So you need to put me kind of in one side. So first of all, hit your escape key so that you can move me over, see me, and then still have, in your case, you're going to have like a tab with VDI to do all your work. And then in this case, I need you to have um, whatever else you need to see on the side. Okay.
Yep.
So now we're gonna head over to so say it's time to watch the class recording for any reason. If you miss the class, if you miss a portion of the class, if you have to leave early, have a meeting in the middle, the plumber arrives, whatever, then you need to be able to watch the recordings. Okay. So how we do that, we first go to the class files. You're probably still logged in. Karen, this is the time for you to download the class files too. So now it's time to be with us again. So I'm gonna log in and head over, and I didn't head in the right way. You should be here. After you log in, this is where you should be. So go back into my.sbcc.edu, and I'm looking for my code. Here we go. All right. So on the left side of the screen, you should be seeing a red bar if your window is big enough, but if your window is small, then that red bar disappears, right? So it depends on what size you have that bar. So if it's there, that's good. But if it's not there, then go to this little icon there to have that red bar appear and then disappear. Now I'm going to leave mine open, but that's how you would make that red bar appear. And we're going to head over here to the word Gmail. Click on Gmail. And for better or for worse, this is the, you know, the pipeline email. But at the very top, you need to make sure that you're in your SPCC, especially if you have a Google account of your own, because your personal email address is a Google email. Just make sure that it says SPCC over here, which is why we went that way. Sometimes when people go, let me just clarify, sometimes people go to Gmail over here, and depending on how it connects, over here, sometimes it takes you to your personal email and to your personal pipeline drive. But by going through this one, I've discovered over time, it's all it 99% of the time it lands you in your school email. Thus, now we go to this little icon here. And when you go to this drive, it's your pipeline drive. So it's kind of, if not, you end up in your personal email drive, which is not the same. So pipeline drive, if you've ever been here or not, you might be getting a whole welcome if it's your first time into your pipeline drive. Here on the left side, you'll see my drive, which now, Sarah, has your class files. If you were to click on my drive right now, there's the class files. But those are the ones that we're going to use for Illustrator for inside of VDI, so you don't really need to go there during the week because the only way you can access those is with Illustrator, and you only have Illustrator in VDI. So right now, that's not necessarily useful for you. Click on Shared Drives. And now in Shared Drives, you should be seeing, oh, do you see an Illustrator Shared Drive? Okay. So, but you do, of course, you had seen it before. So sometimes it's in like, how do you call it? Icon form. Sometimes it's in list view. It might make a difference later. So let's go ahead and double click on Illustrator Shared Drive. Now we're inside of the class files. So this is the folder that I had you download right into your drive, but there's a bunch of other stuff in here. And the one that in particular I want you to know about is this first one, Zoom class recording links, Illustrator Fall 2025. By the way, Karen, when you're here, now you need to right click on this one and download this. So this is just for Karen.
Yeah, for some reason I went to file shared with me and I'm having a
Not shared
hard
with
time.
me. No, 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 no. Karen, listen.
My drive?
Not shared with me. It's shared drives.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm there. Okay.
No, that's fine. Shared drives. Okay. Once you get in there, then follow shared class files, right click and download. Now she's downloading them into her real computer because she has her Illustrator app and she's in all my other Adobe classes. All right. Now this one, Zoom class recording links, let's double click on that one. Karen, let me know if you're good. Did you get there?
Yeah, I'm in the file, so you're taking us to the
You're in the shared drives. Did you open Illustrator shared drive?
yeah.
Okay, so then right click on Fall 2025 Illustrator class files and download those.
For some reason it's not presenting it that way. Let me see.
You're probably seeing it in this way then. Look at my screen.
Yeah, let me see if there's some way I can.
if you're seeing it in icon form, then it's this one here.
It says Illustrator shared, that's all it says.
When you
So
click on share to drives and you double click,
I hit share drive again.
if you're seeing something very different, I'll have you share your screen.
Yeah, it looks like everything's in there.
Go ahead and share your screen. Let me see what you're looking at.
Okay.
And you haven't shared your screen in a bit, so that's a good practice to remember how to do that.
Okay. Oops, there you are.
Well, I'm always excited to meet new students, but they're not showing up.
It's starting to pop up. Okay, I'm doing
I'm
share,
hiding after them. Can you tell?
share, and then go
There you
back
go. Okay.
to,
So
there
now,
we go.
all right. So yeah, so you're just seeing yours in icon mode, which is a bit disconcerting when I show it in a different way. But anyway, here we go. This is the folder that has the class files. So go ahead and right click on this one and download. Yeah, perfect. Hit download and they're going to head over into your computer. So
Okay.
you're good with that. Now, since you're here, let me just show you. This is the other one that I want you guys to get. So that's, you can just ignore that one. That's downloading. It'll be there. So go ahead and double click on this one, which is Zoom class recordings. All right. So now this one is there's some pretty important links in here, but the most important thing is going to be this one here, the class Padlet. Whoops. Okay, let me do that again. This link here, which is our class Padlet, we're about to go in and work on that one for a second. And then over here, don't, yep. So this takes you into this thing called class Padlet. And I'm going to, oh, Paula doesn't have the Zoom link. Look at that. You're going to the Padlet and she's, why is she not getting my emails? Okay. So weird. I wasn't expecting her to be connecting with me this way, but give me a second. Um, Let me email her. So funny. This wasn't where are we? This wasn't in what I was intending to do. I'm not sure where you're going with all that, but right now this is the class folder. Yeah, and that's the class Padlet. Okay, give me a second because I'm suddenly seeing Paula's message here, so I need to respond. A student who for some reason doesn't seem to have the class roster, so the link to the class. So okay, let me get her the class link. I know, where do I get it from here? Um, okay, and let me actually give her, this isn't the right place, but I'm going to post the, and then I'll get rid of it. But here's, I hope the link is live in here. I think it is. Okay. So I just posted anyway. Sorry about that, but I'm glad I showed you this. Normally I don't show this until a bit later, but I wouldn't have seen her message. Okay. So back to being here. So this class Padlet, and this one again, if everyone else who comes to class has been to my classes, they know this, so I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. But normally I have to, I'm torn. If new people do arrive a bit later, I'm gonna have to do all this again, but I don't know if they will come at this point. So okay, and let's go. Let's keep going. So here's how this is gonna work. I'm going to show you the other, I'm going to stop your share right now, Karen. Thank you for sharing. And now I'm going to share mine and show you a bit more about the class files and Padlet work. Here we go. And here's my class Padlet. All right. So what's up with this? Sorry. My, is that let me take you back to the dashboard. I have a bunch of different classes. So say this is my Illustrator from the summer, for example. So the way it's going to work is that people are going to be posting all their classwork as we go. See what I mean? And writing and talking about the things that they're doing, um, depending on what class we're in. So here's Photoshop, right? And so this is how you're going to be turning your stuff in. So right now ours is completely empty. Where's ours right now? Illustrator Fall. So right now it's empty. And we need to put our first post. I'm just distracted by Paula. She knows that I show this post, and so she wrote in here, but I hope she gets the email. All right. So as we are working on Illustrator on our files and everything is happening, every now and then I'll say, okay, let's do a screenshot. Let me explain why. We do, and for you on VDI, the screenshot on a Mac is going to be a little bit different. So that's why I need to make sure that we got the system down for you meaning Sarah. So this class has a grade, even if you don't care about the grade and you're just doing it to learn. There is a certificate that this is part of where if you take all the classes, you would get a degree, not a degree, a certificate. So everyone's going to get either a pass or a no pass. But the only way for me to give you a pass or a no pass is A, attendance, right? Because you're here, you're doing the work. But then for me to see you're doing the work when we're online, you need to do a screenshot now then of your work and put it in here. Does that make sense? So it's not the actual files that you're doing. It's not like I need you upload the Illustrator files. I just need a screenshot of where you're at, showing me the work. When I mean the work, you'll see that we'll be showing you layers and stuff like that. And so you need to kind of post that and then write a little bit about what it is that you're trying to do and homework. So that's why it's important to have this link. Let me close these other guys. And oh, here comes Paula. It worked. She is here. So let me stop the share for a sec to greet her. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Hey, oh my God.
That was so weird. Don't you get my emails? You did same thing with Photoshop. We need to figure out what's
Yeah,
happening
but
because
Photoshop I enrolled later. And then yesterday I spoke to Mari and I was like, hey, I didn't get any links. Like, what's happening? Am I like enrolled to the class? And then she didn't answer. And today I've been calling her since like
in my
8:30.
roster.
And I even send messages in the Padlet.
We need to check your something. You're in the class, you're in the
Okay.
roster, your email's there, and thus
Yeah, I don't know. So
we
I'm
have to
sorry. I
email.
sent you messages in the Padlet.
I saw that I was just showing Sarah the Padlet, and I went, wait a minute, what's so you'll see that in the
It's
Padlet.
me. I
There's
was
a
hacking
reply.
into your class, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna delete now.
No, yeah, and yeah, I'll delete it too. But also, so when I saw it here, then I went and emailed it to you because you will see
Okay.
that I put it in here too. But I was like, why? Okay, so check your emails. No, here's what I'm trying to say is because this happened already twice. Maybe you are in, you have my email might be going to your spam, to your junk mail, something like that. So go ahead and check in those folders to see my emails because there's no reason you shouldn't have gotten this one. Um, because
I
especially you were signed
I
up
think
already, and a week ago you're already signed up, right? Because that's when I sent
I
the whole
don't
welcome email.
I don't remember.
At the very least, you should be in yesterday's email, the one with the link for today.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, but here I am.
Hey,
So
no, yeah, but go and check because I do sometimes that's why at the bottom of my emails I'm like, check
okay.
spam, make sure I don't get start because that way
Okay.
yeah, I'll be sending the link every Friday. Normally I send it Friday mornings. So that when people wake up, there it is. This time I sent it the day before just to remind people to be ready for today. But usually it's Friday mornings they get the link. But it's always the same Zoom link. So if you guys have it, bookmarked or something, you don't need to be checking your link all the time. But anyway, just saying. Okay, so Paula, are you inside of VDI already?
Yes.
Okay, good. Perfect. So let's continue with the class. Um, Now I'm going to share my screen again. I was in the middle of showing Sarah about Padlet, and that's when I saw your notes, and that's where so I'm going to go ahead and delete them myself, if you don't mind. I'm going to just delete these posts, but there you go. It's a good way to reach me, is to write in the posts. Okay, and here's the class link. Maybe, maybe I should leave you know what? Suddenly it occurs to me. Oh, why don't I?
Yeah, you should leave the link
Class
there.
link for every Friday, which it's kind of shouldn't necessarily, it's not for Paula though, so let me edit that again. It's a Zoom link. Um, and the reason I'm saying that this is weird because in order to be here, to be in the Padlet, people would have to have already gone to the class files, so they would be able to be in the Padlet. So they probably have the,
Yeah, I could
never
I
mind.
I had access to the class files.
Yeah.
I just didn't get any email.
Yeah. Okay. We'll check your emails later. Here we go. So let's do a screenshot. Here's the thing. For our first screenshot, it doesn't matter what or where. Now, just for people on VDI, in particular you, Sarah, because you're on a Mac at home, and Paula's already done this. As you can tell, we know each other. Uh, um, when you do a screenshot on a Mac, the screenshots drop into your Mac's desktop. So even if you're working inside a VDI where you're not using the PC way to do the screenshot, you would just go ahead and do a screenshot now, which the shortcut is for Mac people is Shift Command 4. Your mouse goes into this little mode, and then you do a little screenshot, and that little bit that you screenshot drops into your computer's desktop. So when we do VDI, for the most part, when I put the way I'm going to do it normally when I put in a link, and so let me put the link right now in the chat. So let me head over to the chat for a second here. And this is how it's going to work. It's like time to put some in post. I'll put the link in the chat. So when you click on that link, can you click on the chat link? That chat link will lead you to the Padlet outside of VDI. It'll be a new tab in your Google or whatever. You know what I mean? If you click on this link. If you go inside of VDI, it'll be in VDI. But normally people access it because they say, okay, time to put in a post. And so when you click, whatever opened up is the one that's on your computer. So now, oh, here comes someone who's new. So let me Let me stop my share to say hi to Gary. Hi, Gary. I can't hear you. Sorry, I see your mouth probably
Okay.
saying hello or
Hi,
something.
good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm glad you made it.
Good.
Nice to meet you. I don't think you've been in a class with me before, have
No,
you?
I haven't.
No, okay, yeah. So that's fine. Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm in the midst of explaining something. I'm gonna back up and catch you up a little bit, but let me keep um, going with this portion, and then so about to share my screen, and then I'll do some of the basic catching up for you. Okay. So now let
Okay,
me share
thanks.
my screen again. And what I was just sharing with people is this thing, which is Padlet, and I'm gonna put it. Oh, here comes Stan. What time is it? It is okay, so let me just stop again and say hi to Stan. Hi Stan. Oh, he still doesn't have audio connected yet. There he goes. Hi Stan. How are you? Can you hear me? Hi Stan. If you're talking to me, you're muted, so I can't hear you. So unmute yourself to say hi if you can.
Hi.
There you go.
Sorry,
Hi.
just getting set up.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to say hi, and I do know Stan. But I don't know not Gary. So both of you just showed up, but I'm just gonna focus a little bit on Gary here. But remind me, Stan, you do have Illustrator, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm still using 24. I haven't updated to 25, if that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
There are a few things that I'll be showing that are very new, and we're going to talk a bit about that. The Illustrator, the Adobe programs are changing at a dizzying speed. We're talking about weekly new updates with weekly new tools, not even like monthly or yearly like they used to be. But basically, everything we're going to start with, if now and then I'm going to be showing some of the new generative AI stuff. But I'm going to teach you to do things by hand, not with the generative AI. But every now and then there's a tool that we might be showing you, in which case, if so, you might need to upgrade, but no issues for 99.9% of the class to have 2024. But every now and then, if I point to a tool, if it looks a bit different, just let me know, and then I'll tell you how it should work on yours. Gary, do you have
Yeah.
Illustrator at all?
I just installed it.
I used to install it. It's up and running and it's working.
Yep.
Yay. So I'm going to tell you how to get to the class files in a minute, and I'm going to wait
Oh,
10.
I got there
You
already.
downloaded the class files too?
I didn't download them. I
Oh,
got to the
but you
VLI.
got there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when where you see the folder that says Fall 2025 class files, just click and download.
Okay. Got it.
And
Thanks.
I know that I'll be doing that part again when everyone else who's going to come to class is going to be here. But I just wanted to mention that what I was doing is showing the class Padlet. So I'm going to put a link on the chat right now. And I want everyone to click on that link. And that link is going to lead you to the class Padlet, which is what I was in the midst of showing when you popped in. So I stopped showing that. So Stan, everyone, please go to the class Padlet. Now, another thing is also, those of you who just arrived, please head to the chat and give me a little hey ho, I'm here, hello, good morning, or whatever you want to say. Just kind of a attendance base. Say just give me a little something in the chat. Now, next thing is that I want to talk to you about this Padlet that I'm about to share. And here I am. I'm sharing my class Padlet right there. This is a place that we're going to be posting the work that we do during class and work that you do for homework. So I think I was showing, I already closed it. Here's an example of whatever, a Photoshop Padlet that I got going. And so what happens is that first of all, at the top, I might be, all these yellow ones are me giving you indications or articles or things you need to read or homework you need to do. But then the work that we do in class, you'll be doing a screenshot and then you'll be going here and writing what it is that you've done or questions that you have. The Illustrator one for us is empty right now. And the first assignment we all have is to post something in here. So I'm going to make a basic any old screenshot here. If you don't know how to do a screenshot, A, I'm going to tell you right now, but B, my first post is how to make a screenshot in case later when you have to do this again, or when you're doing homework, if you forgot how to do a screenshot. Now, Gary, are you on a Mac or on a PC?
Mac.
Okay, so then the shortcut for the Mac is Shift Command 4, and then you'll see your mouse turn into this crosshairs mode, and then you'll click and drag across something, and that thing you click and drag across a desktop, by default, that little screenshot will land on your computer's desktop. Okay. Stan, I don't remember. Are you a Mac or a PC guy?
Mac.
Mac. Okay, so then the same one. Sure, everyone make a screenshot, as you can see, of whatever's on your screen. Just any old screenshot is good right now for this first testing. And now we're going to go over here to the bottom. You'll see a plus sign that when you hover over, it turns into a pencil. You're going to click on that. And the first thing I want you to put at the top is your name. When you try to do that, notice that it'll tell you to sign in and give your name. If you give your name, then your name will appear as your name. See over here, it says Karen Finch for Karen. But for some people, if you don't put your name in, then it'll say something like Happy Alligator, or no, really, it is those kind of names. Or Circumspect Turtle. I don't know. They just use these funny names. So what I'd like you to do on the subject is to put the name, your name, actually, So Karen, where you wrote screenshot up there, you can actually edit your own post by clicking on this little, putting your mouse over here and the edit appears and then change it just to give a demo of how to do it. So put your own name, then whatever name or not it gives you on the top, it doesn't matter. Then I know it's your work. Then for those of you who are on a Mac, then we're going to click on this little purple icon, the first one. And it's going to take us to your Finder window, and I'm going to click on desktop, and there's my screenshot that I just made, and I'm going to upload it. Okay, and then we're going to write something here, and this is usually what I'll write. This is our first screenshot assignment or whatever, and I'll be talking to you about we use these tools, we use those tools, and you can also say, well, here I was trying to do this, but it didn't work, or I was trying to do this and it worked, or look, questions and stuff like that. So this is where we're gonna, oh, not thesis, but this is. And then you click on publish. Okay, so now everyone please post your first posts. And I'm gonna go ahead and pin this one so that these two stay on top. There you go. Thanks, Karen, for editing yours. See, there you go. Sarah's an attentive caribou. I swear the names are like that. I wasn't joking. They really are funny, which is why I need you to put your name there. And it's okay if there's only one Sarah, you don't need to put your first and last. In this case, you can put your first and last name or not. In the Zoom, I need your first and last name. Here it's fine to just say Sarah, Karen, or whatever. But it is funny because you will be called, I don't know, monothematic lizard. I don't know. They just come up with bizarre things. Anyway, there we go. There's Stan's post. Thank you. Gary, can you do a post just to make sure that it's working? And that's the way we're going to be turning in our assignments. And we're going to be doing this 2 to 3 times per class, sometimes more, sometimes less. And this is a problem when it's less. If you see that I haven't said, okay, everyone, let's get a screenshot, then something in me is missing because every now and then I just keep teaching. So whenever you see that we've done something a bit different, new, I've just taught you a new feature, we're supposed to screenshot that. In part also because then that comes over here and you get to see if if you're trying to practice during the week, which I highly recommend, and you're making something new, then you can go over here and you'll see, oh, this is where we got that tool from or whatever. So those screenshots are pretty important. So Gary, is it working for you? Do you need a hand on anything?
Yeah, and how do I post it again? So I made the screen, right? Copied it to the clipboard.
Okay. So then, well, did you put it in your clipboard or it's different, or did you go into your desktop? Did you do it with the Shift F4?
Yeah, Shift F4.
Okay, so then it doesn't go to your clipboard.
Oh,
It does make
sorry.
a difference. It goes to your desktop because if it goes to your clipboard, which is what happens with the shortcut for the PC, then it's a little bit different. And you said you're on a Mac, right? Yeah. So now
Yeah.
head over to this plus sign down here at the bottom right of the screen. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
Click on that. Put your name at the top under subject, and then click on this little guy right there. And that'll take you to your Finder window where you should find your desktop, and there you'll find the screenshot that you just made. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then you would write something, and then you would hit publish on the top right of your little box. Okay. Stan, I see you posted. That's great. And what else? I do want everyone to notice that Stan is here twice and Karen is here twice. There you go. I saw your post come in. Perfect. Thanks, Gary. So
Sure.
the reason that I'm mentioning that 2 people are here twice is because if you have the chance to have a second monitor, an iPad, an old laptop hanging around somewhere in your house that still works but that you don't use too often, then it's ideal to have those 2 options and then you connect twice. One, so that you can watch me, and then you have your entire computer screen to do the work versus having to share a small screen with 2 things, right? But that implies that you would go to the Zoom link on each one of your computers or on your Padlet. Now, some people go, well, I have a phone, but the phone's to watch me is too tiny to see what button I'm touching in Illustrator. So the phone doesn't necessarily work as your second screen. It's fine if you have nothing else and you're traveling and you want to connect to the class to listen in, that's fine. But it's not necessarily a useful second screen because it's a bit too small to see stuff. But if that's all you have and you really can't handle the screen when I share my screen to move your stuff out of the way, that's fine. So Gary, right now, when I was sharing my screen, did you have space on your computer to open your own Illustrator to watch it, or did I take over your screen?
No, I had space.
You had space. Okay, good. So that's usually, it's funny because one of the things that's the hardest to explain, much harder than any Illustrator feature, is to explain people how to share themselves their screen. So all you new people are excelling at that. Awesome. Okay. So now,
Sorry,
and
Diana, I wasn't able to find my screenshot. It's going to my computer
okay, so
desktop.
exactly. So since because you're also on a Mac, right?
Yeah.
In your VDI. Okay. So when you got to the Padlet, you didn't do it through VDI, right? You did it through the link that I gave you? Are you inside
Oh
of
no, I did through VDI.
Okay, so if you're inside of VDI, it's a bit harder because you're on a PC.
Uh,
So the
okay,
shortcut that you
gotcha.
just made with Shift Command 4 is outside. So if
Okay.
you're in VDI, then your PC, then your shortcut is different and you have to do it a different way. So if that's what you want to do, then
No, I can open on regular.
either
What do
way,
you think? Okay.
if you click on the link that I gave you in the chat, and I'll put it there one more time, that will take you outside of VDI. So
Okay.
then you do it this way, and then your screenshot should be on your desktop. Let me know if that's fine. If not, I'll show you how to do it inside of VDI, but it's a PC shortcut then.
I
And then you
think it's
paste
yeah.
instead of uploading because the shortcut gives it into your clipboard. Let me know how it's going. If you need a hand, I'll give you a hand. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep catching Gary up. And I'm saying, Gary, don't feel targeted, but I am targeting you because
That's fine.
people have been in my classes before and they know this, or Sarah already did this portion. She is new to our class, but I want to catch you up right now. So, oh, Gary, you're coming in with a second device. Perfect.
Yeah, I
All
have
right,
an iPad.
hold on. The sound, when you
Yeah.
connect with a second device, you need to not just mute it, which you did. Let's see, speak. Maybe it's good enough. Go ahead and speak, say something.
No, I muted.
Yeah. So the problem is even if you're muted on your second device, it's not enough. You need to actually disconnect from audio.
Okay.
Is it a second computer or is it an iPad?
iPad.
It's an iPad. Okay. I don't know necessarily how to disconnect from audio from your iPad. So instead, you can unmute yourself from your iPad and listen through the iPad, but then you can disconnect from audio from your computer. So in the computer now, go to the audio button and you'll see that there's a little tiny arrow right to the right of the audio button. Click on that one. And then from the bottom up, the second choice is leave computer audio. Let me know where you're at and if you're finding what I'm saying. So the way around that otherwise would be when you connect with your iPad the second time, the next time, it says connect with audio and you can say no, don't connect with audio and then you don't have to disconnect from one of them. Does that make sense? But I see that you're still connected on audio on both, so something's
I just disconnected it. I'll
you
figure it out next time.
No. I mean, it'll be much easier for you to follow the class if you do have both. So go for it. Hi, Gretchen. Hi, Vera. So, guys, Gretchen, Vera, if you can hear me, let me know. Give me a little hey ho. Someone's speaking and I can't hear them well, so not good.
Hear you. Hi.
Oh, Vera, there you go. Vera.
Hi,
Can you
it's
hear me?
Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen. Yes, I can hear you, and yes, I can hear Vera now. All right, so all of you guys know the basics. You've all been in different classes of mine before. So I am just gonna spend a couple more minutes where I need to catch Gary up. So bear with me for a minute while I do that. And one thing that I was waiting until right now that we have more people to say. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just fell in love. Um, Paula, did you just drink some mate? I'm from Argentina. She's from Brazil. And just so you know, I have not seen someone in my class have some mate in a long time. So that's what she's doing right now. And I just kind of had to laugh for a little bit.
It's
Um,
morning. You need
it's
your mate.
you need your mate. I know. Sorry, guys. That was just an aside there. It's just I couldn't help. I just saw it and I went, I haven't seen that in a while. Okay. Sorry. So, those of you who are in my class know it already, so good demo for everyone else. But Gary and Sarah, what I do when I begin to have a lot of people is I check in on people all the time with a couple of tools, which are in the buttons, in the bottom buttons that you have there on the tool. One of them is React, and it looks like a little heart. And so when I want to say, okay, if everything is good, let me know, give me a yes or give me a no. And so, Gary, you just gave me some thumbs up. So did Sarah. Those are fun and they're great. But guess what? They disappeared. See how I don't see your thumbs up anymore? So instead, what I need you to use is one that stays put. And the ones that stay put are kind of midway down, which is the green check mark for yes or the red X for no. So if you find the green check mark, give me a yes. And as you do that, everyone give me a yes. Then I'm going to have a sea of greens and a couple of no's. And then I'll go, okay, so whoever said no, how can I help? So basically, we'll be doing stuff, we'll be working on stuff. And then I'll say, okay, if that worked for you, once you're done, give me a yes. If it didn't work, if it's all right, give me a no. And that's how I individually help the people who say no. So don't assume that it worked, that I know that it worked for you. If I say, give me a yes or a no, no matter that it seems so easy that of course it's a yes, just give me a yes, and then we'll move on. And most importantly, if you don't, if it doesn't work for you, do give me a no because, and this is, please listen, especially if you're new, everyone else knows it. They've been in my classes, they know this and they do that. But new people tend to think, oh, I don't want to interrupt the class. I don't want to say anything. I'm just going to wait. No, 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 no. Please don't do that. If you say no, or if you raise your hand with a question, you're moving the class forward. And in particular, when I ask you to share your screen, sharing your screen takes literally 2 seconds. I look at it, I immediately see which button is missing, whatever it is that needs to be clicked. Then we keep going with the class, and it takes literally 2 seconds to correct your screen. Too many times people go, no, I don't want, don't bother, I don't want to share my screen, I don't want to ask, and then you fall back, and next thing you know, you don't come to the next class because you fell behind and you didn't catch up. And basically it's a lost it's a lost proposition, lose proposition. So the commitment that I need from everyone is that when it's not working, you ask me immediately, like literally, because if I catch you up, it's 1 step behind. If I catch you up 10 steps behind, I have to catch you up for a long time. Does that make sense? So here, if you agree with that and you promise to do that, then give me a yes. Basically saying yes when everything is good, saying no when things are not good. And Gretchen, you're doing the thumbs up again. And remember that the one I need you to do is the yes. And I love it if you guys laugh at my jokes and send me little smiley faces and rockets or hearts and all that kind of stuff. But when I need a yes or a no, it has to be the green check mark or the red X for it to stick. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right. So everyone's saying yes. Now, some of you guys are like, not everyone said yes, because that's people's second computers, and I know that. So don't worry. Um, but also, if you don't say yes or no, then I will. Like, I will assume that either you're in trouble. So when you're in trouble, you can't, it's not working for you, right? Like something's not working. So you're so busy trying to make it work that you're not able to say yes or no. So if you don't answer, I'm going to call you and say, hey, Gary, or hey, Paula, or hey, Vera, what's up? You know, and then you'll say, well, I can't figure it out. So I will call on you if I don't see a yes or a no. I'm going to assume it's a no and that you're just too busy to say no. You know what I mean? All right. So that's the check-in part. And I'm going to clear your answers. I will also use the check-in sometimes, the yes or no for things like give me a yes if you're on a Mac and give me a no if you're on a PC. So everyone, Macs give me a yes, PCs give me a no. And although I've been asking the new people on the fly, I don't have perfect memory for everyone else's computer. So yes, if you're on a Mac, no, if you're on a PC. Okay, so Karen's on a PC. Now, doesn't make too much of a difference at all if you're on a Mac or on a PC, but there's except for shortcuts. When I'm on a shortcut, I will always be saying Mac shortcut or PC shortcut. And there's only one key that's different. So people on VDI, Sarah and Paula, you're on a Mac, but you're inside of a PC when you're on VDI. So when I call out Command S for the Mac or Control S for a PC, you guys have to do Control S because even though you're Mac people, you're in a PC computer. So it's Control S. Does that make sense? So that's about it. That's the only real issue or difference. Hi, Shelly. Nice to see you. All right. So as long as we're clear with that, now I just want to make sure everyone has the class files, knows how to get to the class files, and then we're going to get started with the class because I hope, and I'm really excited to see Gary and Sarah. I'm sorry to see that there are like 4 new people that aren't here. And I will try to reach out to them and make sure that they can make it for next class. But other than that, thank you everyone else who I already know and see, and we've had great times and that you're here ready to learn more. So, quick demo of how to get to the class files. By the way, I know some people have just joined, so I'm going to copy the code for the Padlet again so that you can click on it. Just so you know, when you get into the class, that's when the chat starts for you. You don't see old chats, and that's why every time someone shows up, I copy the link for the Padlet again, because I need people to have it so that they can go to the Padlet. All right. I'm going to share my screen now, and here we go. We're going to go, to the class files. And Gary, do you know how to get into the pipeline into the SBCC account?
Yes.
So can you go to my.sbcc.edu, and everyone else, we're all going to go and get the class files now. A few of you already have them. Anyone who started with me at 9 a.m. already has them. But everyone else, I need everyone to download the class files. So let's head over to my.sbcc.edu and give me a yes when you're there, when you're in. So again, example of me waiting for everyone to give me a yes before I move on. That's why I want your yeses to be good. All right. Everyone else seems to know how to get there. Okay, good. Paula, you're on VDI, so you don't need the class files. But just like we did before, you need to, inside of VDI, go to your Google Drive, which I know you know how to do. But then you're going to have to go and copy the class files from the shared drive and paste them into your My Drive like you did in Photoshop. But I can work you through that if you need help again, because you only did it once. So if so, when I'm done with everyone else, let me know. Okay, so we head over here on the left side to Gmail and click on Gmail. Now, some of you guys might not see that. If your window is small, that red bar doesn't appear. So then you have to click on this little icon and then go down like that to Gmail. Okay. So once you're in Gmail, this will be your your school Gmail, or so SBCC next to that. And oh, someone else asking me for, and this person is not in my class. Oh, I registered today. Can you send me a link for the class? Well, that's good. I like new people, but let me here. I just sent the link to this person. So sorry, I wasn't even coming here, but since I saw it. Okay. All right. So hopefully she shows up. Okay. So when you're in here in the in your VD in your pipeline Gmail, there's going to be a series of buttons over here. The one that looks like a waffle is called the waffle icon. Under that, you can reach your pipeline Google Drive. So go ahead and click on that. And once again, especially for people who are new to this, I want to make sure that I get a yes that you're here. And once you're here, on the left side, you should go over to the word shared drives. Now, sometimes people confuse that with shared with me. It is not shared with me. It is actually shared drives right under my drive. So click on shared drives, and then you should be seeing the Illustrator shared drive right there. And if you see it, you should give me a double click. If you did this and you got here, give me a yes. And at this point, I'm going to just spot check in. Gary, how are you doing? Are you with me?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So let me just show everyone who has Illustrator installed on their computers, so not VDI people, to go to the first folder, the Fall Illustrator class files, and do a right click and download. There you go. All right. And once your files are downloaded, here, let me clear feedback again. Once they're downloaded and happening, give me a yes. So Stan, you gave me a no. What's up?
When I clicked on the drive icon, it's still showing in the bar drive Google Drive and it's not loading. It's just a blank screen.
When you click on this one on the Google Drive,
Right. And the little
nothing's happening.
triangular to the right says
Yeah.
drive.
It's
I
not,
don't
is it,
know.
but is it going round like it's loading or nothing's happening?
Well, it's been doing it for a couple minutes. Yeah. It's bouncing back and forth
Okay.
like it's
You
working.
could go up and give it a little refresh, or you can just wait it a little bit more. Sometimes when you're online like this, when you're on Zoom, things take a little bit longer to happen. So that's, let me know in about 2 minutes or so if it's not working. Let me just let Paula share her screen, and I'm going to help her get through VDI, the class files, and that'll give you a bit of time for that to appear. And if it doesn't appear, it really doesn't matter today. We don't need the class files. It's just that I want them down so that we're ready to go, but it doesn't need to happen right now. So Paula, can you share your screen? Vera, I see your hand is up. Let me for a second talk with see Paula's. Now, you might notice Vera's been with me before and she's raising her hand. So when you have a question that isn't just yes or no, it's working, but you actually have something to ask, then next to the yes or no's, one of those options is raise your hand. So then you kind of move up to the top of my list, and the next time I have a chance to answer questions, I will go and answer in order of whoever raised your hand, right? So, Paula, I was seeing your screen and then suddenly I'm not. I was seeing it and now I'm seeing a big black. What's happening there?
Oh,
Is that just me?
weird.
Is anyone else?
Let me try again.
Well, you are sharing. Let me stop your share. I saw your screen and then suddenly it went into this black and gray mode. Did it go black and gray for everyone? It was just for me. No one's answering.
Also me.
Also you? Okay. Because
Yeah.
sometimes,
Can you
okay,
see
there
now?
yeah, I can see it now. Okay. So now,
So I don't know. It's like it
oh,
says there
that's
are
okay.
no.
No, wait. You already put them there. So that means you already copied pasted them. They're in your drive. So you're good. You have them.
No, this is the no. This is the Photoshop, the
Yeah.
first one, and this one is the. But look, when I open, it
No,
says
no, you're not supposed to see them from there. Where did you copy them from the shared drives?
I downloaded, and then I
Okay.
dragged from here.
Got it. So no, you don't need to download. So go ahead and right click and delete that, because even see over here, it says this file contains no data, because we don't want to do that. Go ahead and move that one to trash. Yep, went to trash. And now let's go back to shared drives and open up Illustrator shared drive. And in your case, in Google Drive, you don't download, you copy. So right click and copy that folder.
Okay.
It's just a bit different for, yeah. So now go and, okay, not download. Try again, because you should have a copy choice. Click away. And if not, you can go over here to these three dots and click on those three dots where you should see a copy choice. Wow. Why is it not letting you copy? Okay. Go ahead and click on this file name right now and right click over here on the, yeah. Wow. Why is it not letting you copy when that's what we always do? That's not good. Hmm. You don't have the choice to copy. Can you do the shortcut command? No, you're on a PC. Control C to see if the copy happens. Item copy to clipboard. That's good. Okay, so now go to my drive. And now put your mouse over here and do the shortcut Control V for paste. V like vandalism. Control V.
Folders cannot be
copied.
copied.
That's bizarre. Since we do this all the time, why are you not being allowed to copy?
Can I copy from here? No.
No, that's a ton. And you've done this before, and I just did it with Sarah, so I don't understand why you're not giving the choice to.
I'm gonna try to control copy again.
Worst case scenario, okay, go ahead and double click. Double click and open. No, go back to shared drives and open Illustrator. And now open the class files, your class files. Go ahead and open that one. Okay, so let me see. Can you do a Control A to select all? Control A. And now say copy, Control C. Okay, now go to my drive. Now in here, let's make a new folder. Over here, go up here and say new folder, call it Illustrator. And say create. Now go inside of that by double clicking and now say Control V for paste. And it's working, copying. Okay, yay.
Yay.
Work for
Okay.
At least you'll have
Thanks.
okay, there they are. Okay, great. Yeah, Vera, what's your question?
My on my shared drives, the option to download doesn't appear. And second, my Zoom won't allow me to open Zoom with my second computer so I could show you. All I see is Illustrator shared drive. It's a blue little screen. Right clicking does not give me a download option.
What's happening with Google Drive? I've never had this issue. Now Paula couldn't, and do you want to share your screen? You're saying that with the other one.
But my Zoom is now on a kind of a marketing sheet that I can't fix unless I turn it off and turn it back on again.
Go ahead and so the one that you're talking to me on is like a Padlet or something like that. So it's not the one that you're working
I'm
on.
talking to you on a laptop, and
Yeah.
my bigger computer is the one that's having the Zoom issue that I can't.
Yeah. So on the other one, on the one that's having an issue, go ahead and yeah, restart, like leave the class and come back in. I'll let you back
Okay.
in. We'll see if that
All
one
right.
allows you to connect.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Now the reason, by the way, the reason when I say that people have to sign in on two devices, not only to see me instead, but some people say, well, I'll just sign in on the one that I watch and then I'll work on the other one. But the reason you need to be signed in on both is because when you are in trouble and you need to share, that second computer has to be signed in as well. Just saying it for people who are considering signing up with a second device or not. Okay. All right. So Gary, did you get the class files? I lost track. Did you download the class files? You're good. Who else just arrived? Gretchen, do you have the class files? I don't know if I made you guys say yes already to everyone, but those are the only ones that I would have concern with because I know everyone else has done it. Okay, great. Ed Gary, okay, I'm going to share my screen meanwhile. And my screen, in the midst of all of this I just wanted to backtrack for a second, Gary. So when we double click on the class files, that's the folder that we needed to download, but and this is for everyone now. Sarah, everyone else, I haven't shown you guys. There's more than just the class files. There's some other folders and files. And if you click on this and view as icons, then you can get a little bit of a preview of what these files are. And some of these might be important to you, including one that is called My Illustrator Shortcuts. If you double click on that one, we're going to be using some of these shortcuts, and until you learn them, this might be something that you might want to print and have next to your keyboard. I'll be calling them out the whole time, so you learn them by doing, But in case you're working on homework and you don't remember what the shortcuts are and you want to know them, then this might be a good one to actually print, not have to come all the way to the handouts to find out what the shortcut is. So you might want to hold on, have this one next to your computer for a little bit. You won't need it for class because I'll be calling them out. But then notice though that when I say Mac or PC, it's basically always the same shortcut. It's just that on the Macs we use the command key, on the PCs we use the control key. And then after that, it's always the same other key that we click. So they're very similar. It's always the C key, control command, but it's one or the other. And the only people who might have any issue with this are the two VDI people who need to remember that they're on PCs once they're in Illustrator. Okay. Over here, I also have the Padlet, how to use Padlet in case you forgot how to use Padlet during the homework. Here's the information about Padlet. So that's another handout that we have there. But most importantly, it's this first one, the Zoom class recording links. When you open that one, over here, we're going to have links to this class recording. So at the end of the day or by Saturday morning, you will have a link in here that will take you to the recording of this day's class. And then here you will have something called the AI summary. So this whole time when you signed in, you were told this class was being recorded. You were also told that something about AI is something that you had to say okay to, like the class is having an AI summary. So let me show you what that means. I'm going to go to the handouts of some other class because we don't have any here. So in Photoshop, if I go to this one's already in use. You'll see that you'll have these links and the way to use them. First of all, the summary is not me doing it. I post it here, but when I click on it and then I go to it, it's done by artificial intelligence. It just captures everything that's been talked about and it writes it. So it talks about me in the third person. I'm not reading it. Okay. So it's like the meeting began with Diana. Diana explained, Diana did this and Diana did that. And depending on how clear I am and what the homework is, the good news is sometimes under next steps, it might tell you very clearly what the homework is. But sometimes AI doesn't really catch that really well. The reason this is good, Vera, can you mute the sound on your second screen? There we go. Thanks. So what this helps for is, say, if you're looking to see when did you talk about this, when did you talk about that, so you can kind of use this. But it's also good, like, from Friday to Friday, sometimes it's like, what did we do last week? So you can kind of review a little bit what we talked about. So the group discussed their experience with Photoshop, or they introduced the use of Padlet. See, this is the first class of Photoshop. So introduces the use of Padlet to share screenshots. So this is pretty much a paragraph that you'll see in yours too, because that's what I'm just doing. So that's useful, but it's not enough because it doesn't teach you to do something. So it just says that I showed you how to use Bridge and Photoshop, focusing on essential tools, but it doesn't show you the tool. So this is good to have an idea of what I covered if you took the class. But if you didn't take the class, then you actually have to watch the recording. So hi, Moni, thanks for joining us. So to watch the recording, when you click and then click again, it'll lead you to YouTube. Now, for you guys to know, this is a private link. Only you will see this recording, okay? You meaning everyone in this class. So don't share the links, but don't worry, you're not online for the world to see, just for people in this class. And this is the important part of the recording. So this here is a 2 hours and 46-minute class. You see over here it says, and the entire thing goes on. There's no editing. So if you're in class, what you need to do is have a notepad next to you. So when I'm talking about something that you want to review, so say that right now at 10:26 a.m., I'm talking about something that's really important and you know that you want to see this again. So then you write down 10:26. She talked about whatever tool. Then the class started at 9, it's 10:26. That means that about an hour and 20 minutes into the class, you would find it. So then you can just zoom up and go to about an hour and 26. And around there, I should be talking about the thing that you need to review. Does that make sense? because the whole thing is there. And then to find in a 3-hour class the exact moment that I talk about something is kind of hard, right? And this is a long class. So you want to be able to zoom up and down to review the different things that I'm talking about. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that. If you miss a class, you are expected. You have to catch up. We have a whole week to catch up. If you missed a half of it, plumber arrived, portion of it, please watch the recording. Now, if you don't understand something and it didn't work because you didn't have a chance to ask because it's just a recording, you're more than welcome the next day to have me review it and ask me again, or it didn't work for me. So I'm more than happy to explain. What I don't want to do is to have to start from zero again, like you missed that step and we're moving forward. Does that make sense? All right. So that's where you get the class recordings. One more question. Any other question that you have about all of these procedures before we start with Illustrator? Yes, Karen.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how long do you keep these websites up on your YouTube?
Great question. The videos I have never taken down. They're always there. What I take down is the links from your class handouts, because when the next class starts, so in spring, when the next Illustrator comes around, say in March, then at that point, I only give access to the handouts to the new batch of Illustrator students. So then you won't have access to this. So what you can do once you have all these links is just download this page into your computer, and then the links will be there forever. Does that make sense? So the links are there. Or I'm not looking necessarily for subscribers, but you can also go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, in which case if you go in there, every single video of every single class I have ever taught is available for you. Not just this one, so you can do that as well. And you can just look for the name, like you took Photoshop in the fall. If you look for the fall one and the date kind of thing, you'll be able to find the one that you missed. Okay. So that's how that would work. So I don't take them down. You need to just keep a record of the links, because next time you try to come in, you won't, because you won't be in the class. If you are in the class, it'll be the recordings for the new one. So that's it. You just need to keep those links. Okay. Also, one thing I need from everyone, I don't need you to do it now, but I'm going to put this link in here, which is the Padlet link, which is a link to a survey, and I'm going to paste it into the, oh, no, that's not, delete. I'm going to put the link, I'm going to put this link in here in the chat. It's a survey. And maybe during break, or while I'm explaining something to someone, and you're working on something else, you can click on that. And I need a survey of basically, what do you want to learn in this class? What's up? And that kind of stuff. All right. So, but you don't need to do that now. All right. Let me see. Did anyone else join while I was doing all this? Moni, but I already said hi. Hi, Moni. Okay, so let's keep going. By the way, some of you will find that I teach all these different classes, and some of you love one over another. Moni is one of those in love with Illustrator people. And in fact, in today's class files, I even put that hedgehog that you made last class. So you'll actually see work from one of our students as a sample of how to do things correctly, because she's so good now. That I put it in there. All right, so let's all open Illustrator. Any other questions before we launch into Illustrator about anything? Oh,
I have my Zoom available so you can see my screen.
Oh, there we go. Let me stop my share. Go ahead and share your screen. I forgot for a second. I'm sorry, Vera, that you were going to share your screen.
There's my Illustrator shared drive.
And when you double click to open it, no, you have to open it first, because it's not, this isn't the class files. These are all the class files. So double click to open it. Now that's the folder on the right side, one to the right that says Fall 2025, right above you. That one, that's the one that you need to right click and download. Yeah, there
we go. That's
Otherwise,
thank you.
Otherwise it was the entire shared folder, and yeah, you couldn't do that. Okay, cool. So now you have the class files. As I said, we're not going to use the class files today anyway. In fact, for the first few classes, we're going to be creating everything from scratch, but now and then we'll be using one of those as a sample. But what we do have in the class files there, and especially for those of you who have taken Illustrator before and are a bit more advanced, because you'll all see that there's people who've never taken it and people who've taken it, people that I know from other classes, but not from Illustrator. I have some art in the class files that as homework, I'm going to request that you try to imitate that and create your own version of it, practicing the things we learned that day in class. Now, some of you guys will create a basic sketch and some of you guys will make an amazing hedgehog, as you will see from Moni, and that's okay. Passing or not passing the class isn't whether you are really advanced or it's just whether you've learned what I'm teaching, which doesn't need to be incredibly awesome. It needs to show me that you're learning what I'm teaching. Does that make sense? Now, when I say pass, no pass, don't panic. It's that. Show me your work and Padlet, do the work, and that's a pass. Be here, be in class. You can't just watch the recordings and not be here. I have to drop you. Okay, so you do need to take the class in person. We get our funding for you to take this class for free. We get our funding from the state because of who is in the day in the class, not 25 people who are registered, but the 14 people who showed up. The other 10 who didn't show up, we don't get funding for them. So you need to be in class. That's why you can watch the recording to catch up. If you missed a class, you're sick, that's fine. But if perchance you have to travel that day and you can't make it to class, well, first of all, on the phone, you could always click on the link sometime between 9 and 12:45 and connect. If you do that, then the attendance gets recorded and then you watch the recording, then we can mark you as attended. Does that make sense? So if you're absolutely impossible, you're in the hospital, you're totally lay down in bed, then of course don't attend. But if you can, even when you have other things to do at some point that morning to connect, even from your phone, that'll help us be able to give you attendance, get the funding, keep the classes going. All right. So that's my last.
Deanna, they
Yes.
need to actually write in the chat that they're here.
That's true. That's true. You need to go into the chat and say that you are here. Oh, and thanks for saying that, Moni. A lot of times people really nicely do that. They just appear, but they're on their phone. And the phone just says, iPhone is here. It doesn't say your name. And so then you go, okay, I'm here. And then you leave. And then I don't get to know who arrived in their iPhone. So if you do show up in your computer, it'll say your name. But if you show up in your iPhone, please wait for a minute. Tell me who you are. I'll change your name on the iPhone. Or if you know how to change your name when you're on your iPhone, then you can leave so that I can know, oh, it was Karen who showed up. Or it
Or
was Moni.
they can also just say, hi, this is Moni.
Or in the chat, you can write, hi, this is Moni. That's true. But for the attendance roster, and this is understanding, for Zoom, in the official roster that I have to submit to say that Moni arrived, it can't say iPhone, even if the chat said that. That's for me. But the roster needs to say, it'll say iPhone was here versus Sarah was here or Paula was here. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to rename you Paula for a second, just to put your first name, just so that people can know what to call you in case they want to know who's available. Oh, hold on. But that's all. No big deal because I know your name, but still, let me just add. Hold on. Oh, I didn't mean to lose your last name. I just wanted to just add. Hold on. Okay. Okay, got it. All right, so ready to go. I'm going to share my screen, Illustrator, and we're going to get going. All right, so first of all, when you first come into Illustrator, you might have a little window here that says something like welcome and trying to teach you some stuff because it's your first time ever. You can click on X to get rid of that one. And then you'll be in this welcome page. Now, again, minor differences PC and Mac is that like new and file and open will be at the bottom instead of at the top on the PC versus on the Mac. It's mini changes like that, not a big deal. So we're going to click and we're going to create a new file. So when we start with a new document, and I know many of you guys aren't completely new to Illustrator, so I appreciate you being with us while we do some of the basic startings. But the first part, but there's always, as Monique tries to remind me, there's always something new she learns each time. At the very top of the screen of this new document, you have choices of what kind of thing you're going to be making or doing. Now, why this matters is because the formatting of the document will be different. Say if you're going to do something for mobile or for the web or for print, you're going to have things here that are different. And if you pay attention, put your eyes on this part and focus on this here. And you'll see now that if I go to art and illustration, certain things change down here and here than if I go to print. And sudden we go to mobile, then if I go to web, RGB color. So it doesn't matter right now the details of what those things are, but it's a way of presetting your image to be correct. Now, what is going to make a difference is if you want to work on templates. We're not going to work on templates in this class. We're going to start from scratch. But notice that if I click on print, it's going to give me choices of letter size, tabloid, legal, paper size. If I click on film and video, it's going to give me formats for video. If I click on social, it's going to give me Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So it's a way to start with the correct size template you need for whatever it is that you're making, okay? Now we're going to go generic. We're going to go to print, and we're going to start at this point with letter size, and we're going to keep everything as is. We're going to do nothing different, and we're just going to say create over here. So here we have an 8.5 by 11 paper. That's the basic setup. And if you do have, if you're here and it worked, you've opened a basic thing, give me a yes. This is mainly to double check that everyone's up and running. Okay. All right. Good. That looks like everyone's Illustrator is working. All right. So when we first open Illustrator, it might look identical to mine or really different than mine. And so it depends on a few things. First of all, let's head over to the farthest right where we see, and I'm going to turn on my, hold on. I got to turn on my little toolbar that shows me I know. That's my alarm telling me I need to give you guys a break. But since some of you started so late, some have started earlier, I'm going to go a little bit longer. Otherwise, at around this time, should be having a break normally, but I'm going to do a little bit more first because I want to make sure that you guys see far right over here, there's a rectangle. Now there's a couple. And again, this is one of those where on the PC, the rectangle shows a little bit further in and on the Mac a little bit further out. But the reason I'm showing you this is because when you click on that, it's showing you the different workspaces that we can have. And depending on which workspace you're in, things really change. So if I click on automation, see how suddenly all my screen changed. If I click on Essentials Classic, I have certain tools. If I click on painting, I have other tools. If I click on typography, I have different tools. So Illustrator can do so much that what it's doing, sorry, I switched for a second to Illustrator can do so much that it's like opening different cupboards and bringing out different tools. And for those of you who've never used Illustrator, you are probably by default in the getting started setup, right? So if you're in the getting started setup, you have a certain amount of tools that are more or less how do you call it? Complete. It's kind of like a sprinkling, a smorgasbord of the top hits of tools. Okay. We're going to start at getting started for everyone. And so those of you who have been in class before, who are already working with other web workspaces for now, let's all switch to getting started. We want to have everyone have the same stuff. But in case you've been to getting started before, which some of you might have, I want you all to reset your getting started by going all the way down there to reset getting started. So the only ones for whom nothing should change is for people who open Illustrator for the first time ever. But for the rest of us now, after clicking on getting started and then saying reset getting started, we should all now be in the exact same window. And that's a good place to start for making sure that we're all in the same boat. Now, if you're still looking very different, or if you don't have the getting started, for example, I think Stan, you mentioned that you have a 2024 version. I believe getting started didn't exist in 2024, did it?
No.
No, it didn't. So there you go. Already we have someone who's in a different working space. But I believe if you go to Essentials right now, it'll still work. I'm going to move people into Essentials for a minute, but for now, go to Essentials. But Getting Started is a newish workspace, and that's why. Is anyone else on anything that's not new enough? I try to keep track and ask you these things, but I'm not always 100% sure. But I think everyone else is on a newish Illustrator. Okay. So let me just point you to why that workspace matters. And after I'm done with the basic setup of the workspace, then we're going to take our break. First of all, everything in Illustrator and any Adobe program, per se, what you're learning right now is pretty much valid for every Adobe program that you run. Everything is changeable. Everything is adaptable. So if I look at the left side where I have my main toolbar, if you are seeing your toolbar all the way to the bottom, that's good. If you have any gray space here with nothing, that's good. But if perchance you see less of it, then up at the very top, you see this tiny little double-headed arrow, and you can just duplicate, double up the toolbar so that you can have them all up higher. You see that? So the double-headed arrow that you see here, we're going to see in many places, and it always means collapse or expand whatever toolbar we're talking about, the little tiny double-headed arrow. So now I'm going to leave mine on long, but actually when I go to, for example, Essentials Classic, I believe, it becomes so long that in the Essentials Classic mode, I don't see the end of my toolbar. That's a perfect example. And that depends on your screen resolution. If you have a very high screen resolution or less screen resolution, lower screen resolution, it'll change. So in this case, when I'm in Essentials Classic, I need to double up my spacebar to see all my tools. So it might change which view you're in that you need to do that in. I'm going to get back to getting started. Over here on the right side, you have a whole bunch of palettes. We call these palettes that change. First of all, we have 3 different tabs to start with: properties, layers, and libraries. We're going to be using the properties one all the time and the layers one all the time as well. So having them not be visible to each other isn't very useful to us. So we're going to actually modify this by grabbing the layers one, and we're going to drag it and put it in here. So watch how I'm going to do that. I'm going to drag it from the name, and I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to then let go. And now I can have properties over here and layers over there. So let me walk you through that again. And everyone, let's do that. But actually, hold on. Mindful that Stan doesn't have this. Maybe we shouldn't start in Getting Started. Stan, let me clarify. You just didn't upgrade to 2025, or your computer can't upgrade to 2020? You're muted. You're muted. Hold on. You're muted. I can't hear you. Stan, I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, I will it's just a matter of updating, but I'm in Essentials from the last class. The layers are already over. They've moved over. There's just fewer tools in Essentials than in Getting Started, from what I can see.
Okay, but you can update to 2025, and you will.
Oh, yes. I didn't do it because
That's fine. Then I'm going to keep us in Getting
Yeah.
Started, because for new people, it's easier to start here, and also for everyone to see a new toolbar. And you just adapt yourself a little bit to what we're saying. And then when you upgrade, you'll be in this one. Later, we will move to, we need tools that other versions have, but then I'll keep us here. Some computers can't upgrade anymore, in which case I was going to go ahead, well, let's all start somewhere else. But if you can, then I'll let you upgrade after class or even during break, which is coming up right now. And then you can be with the upgraded version for the rest of the class. Okay? All right. So then let's do that. So then here's the layers palette. First of all, look what happens if I drag it out and I end up with it in the wrong spot. It's not a big deal. It just left the location it should be in, but it's a palette of its own. But what I want to is to grab it from that name and to stash it in here. So when this little line turns blue, now, if I do it wrong and this whole line turns blue and I let go, then I've created a whole new layer on the right side, which takes up a lot of space. I can go ahead and put it back in here. So I do want you guys to play. I want you to mess things up. But ultimately, when you're done messing up, try waiting until your mouse touches this little corner that gets blue, and that's where the layer palettes should be. Now, if you mess things up and you put the properties over there and the layers over there, and then suddenly you have everything is a disaster and things are like, help, please do that. Go ahead and do weird stuff. Drag something out of the place, make everything look so bizarre that it doesn't even look like the same place. So drag things here and there, at least one thing out of place. Also, we can open new windows that are missing. So I can go over to the top of my screen on a Mac. You'll see it outside of what I'm sharing, but at the top of the screen, you'll see the window word, and then you can open something new like 3D and materials, right? And then suddenly a new block called 3D and materials pops up. So any tool that we're not seeing will be able to open by going to window. Here's the flattener preview. You know, a lot of stuff that we don't even know that we want. Good news is, hopefully by now you've opened one or two new windows, you've dragged something out of the place, things are a mess. When I say make things a mess, trust me, I mean it, because I want you to learn that you can always go back to this icon and go, okay, things are a mess. Let me reset getting started. Oh, phew, back to where I should be. Okay, so don't worry too much if things get messy because you can always reset. All right, I'll give him a break in a minute. I'm just talking to my phone. All right, so now that we've reset and everything is good again, now for sure, I do want the layers to come out here, and now let's try to do that one like that. And once you have your layers in the right spot and you're back in properties, now give me a good old yes. All right. Hopefully you've opened new windows. Going up to window, you found it and opened new things. And then when you open those new things and those things just pop in somewhere, if you want to then use them again, because you don't want them to just, if you don't need them, you're done with this, you can just close it. But if it's something that you want to use again, say that I open, I don't know, graphic styles and I want graphic styles, I can have them floating around, or I can do like we just did, grab them from here and just pop them in there. And then they're easy to grab without having to start from the beginning. And then when I don't want them anymore, I can just drag them out and then nix them, and then I don't have them anymore. So another thing that can be changed, as I showed you before, is that you can put your mouse in the middle of one of these lines and make them bigger or smaller or wider or thinner. Now, enough of the palettes right there. What's this thing that's been floating around? This is the contextual taskbar. Some of you guys might not have seen it. You might have turned it off, but now that you did a reset of getting started, you should all have it. But if perchance you don't have it and you're looking for it, this is the contextual taskbar. So you would go to Windows and you would go right there to turn it on. Now notice that things that are available and are on are checkmarked. So if I click on something that's checkmarked, that thing disappears. So to make it appear again, you have to go and checkmark it, and then it appears again. Okay. Another way to make this thing disappear is to click on these three dots and to say hide the bar. If it's hidden and you forget how to bring it up again, you can go into this gray area outside of the main window, right click, and oh great, that's a Photoshop thing only, huh? Because in Photoshop, you can right click and bring the pad back. Over here, you basically have to go back to window. Okay, well then that's the only place you can get it back from. Okay, so forget that. But you know, you Photoshop people, that you could have right clicked and bring the taskbar from the right, this is called the I'm trying to blank on this gray space's name, pasteboard. This is called the pasteboard. You can go to the pasteboard and right click on it to bring it back. We're going to talk about what this does for us in a minute. Right now, I just want to show you one last thing. When you select a tool from over here, it goes dark. So that's the one that you've selected. Now, when you click and have one tool, if you just hover over it for a second, you get a little tool tip, which might seem uncomfortable. Like, what's this thing appearing out of the blue? For those of you who already know what all the tools do, you don't need to see this all the time. You can go into the file system preferences and get rid of these tool tips. But since you can't know every single tool in the world. They're not that big of a deal. If you do have them, all you need to do is ignore it. The moment I move my mouse out of the way and do something else, it disappears. You know what I mean? If I go to, so if you just ignore it, it goes away. But if you don't ignore it and you want to know what it does, well, it's giving you a little mini preview of how to use the tool. Sometimes it does even more. It gives you a little video, and it gives you, most importantly, a shortcut. So see how it says rectangle M? If I hover over this arrow, it says selection V. If I hover over this T, it says type T. Okay, so let's go ahead and use those for a minute. Let's all go to the M and keyboard and just click the letter M. That's all, nothing else. And you'll see how now I have quickly selected the marquee tool. Now let's click on the B brush tool, and you'll see how we went to the brush tool. You see that? Let's click on the eye, and we'll be down there on the eyedropper tool. Got it? So some of these are really important to learn, and you'll find out which ones, but many of them are very obvious, like T for type, you know, those kind of things. But the one that's the most important one that I'm going to repeat from the day we start is the V. The V for the word valedictorian. V. Let's all click the word V. And there we go. We've gone to the topmost selection tool. And that is the one that we want to use as our home tool all the time. So wherever we're at, whatever we're doing, when we're done, we go and hit the V for the V selection tool. And you'll see that in work as we start working. You'll see how important that is. That's for now. All I'm going to share is one last thing. If you are in a toolbar like Essentials Classic, there's one more toolbar at the top. And when you're in that tool, when you're in the Essentials Classic mode, for example, if I select any of these tools, say that I select this tool, it'll give me choices about how to set up that tool. When I click on this tool, it'll show me here how to work with that tool and stuff like that. So these are ways to modify that tool that I'm working with right here. Okay, so but not all tools have it. Now, most toolbars make you make those choices in the Properties tab. So I'm going to leave that one for now. But for those of you who like Essentials Classic, then you know that there's one more toolbar up on top. All right, I'm done with the basic layout. We're going to get to work the moment we come back from break. But for those of you who have been here since 9, it's been a long slog. So we're going to take a 15-minute break. It is 10:54. Let's assume it's 10:55. Let's be here at 11:10 a.m. So always in the chat, I'm going to be writing, be back at 10, not 10, 10:10. 10:09. I don't know. Is that 15 minutes? Did I have it right? That's about right. One thing you need to know about me, I'll usually get that wrong and someone has to correct me. Okay. I especially if it's a weird number like 10:47. I'm like, okay, someone figure out 15 minutes for me. I am a visual person and I do not do math in my head. Okay. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Bye.
Diana, I just have one thing. Can you just help me?
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't able to see to drag the layers because I don't have that
Go ahead and
middle.
share your screen.
Okay.
By the way, I noticed that you said no, and I didn't pay attention to your no, so I apologize. Normally I would.
No, it's okay. It's okay because
Go
I
ahead.
know you were gonna go to.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. So, oh, I see. So when you went to the top of, can you click on?
So you see that I don't have
Yeah, I
that
see. I
middle
see. But hold on,
thing.
I'm looking for my pencil. Can you go over here and see if you can do a get? Yeah, click on that, and then say reset getting started.
Yeah, I did that.
It's appearing, but it's not. I think because your window is a bit too small, that's why it's not giving it to you. Any chance you can make? Because
I
see
tried before.
Okay, so then grab it, grab layers and drag it out. And drag it out and put it, yeah, keep going and put it there. And now let's grab it from the side from here. Hold on, my mouse isn't making it. Grab it from here and just bring it in and make it smaller. Yeah,
It doesn't go.
doesn't go any smaller than that, huh? Try
No.
going over here to this little 3 icon. That little icon's right there, yeah. And then panel options. Click over here on panel options for a second. At the very bottom, yeah. And row size. Let's try that. I don't know if that hits, but click on small. Yeah. Nope, that didn't work. In fact, I want you to go back from that. Go back. Let me take all my pink out. Go back to panel options. That wasn't it. And oh, you need to go back to panel options. Click on that. Yeah, click there. Click, choose panel options. Yep. And now let's make this medium again because I do want to say that. Oh, it's not going to do that. Okay, go ahead and say okay to that because I want to bring that back. Let me, oh, here we go. Go to that little double-headed arrow right there. There you go.
Oh.
And now see if you can make it one size smaller because it should be even one size smaller, but I don't. There.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
So here's the layers. Okay.
There you go.
But I see you have something else on
Yeah,
top of
we don't need
layers,
that one.
right?
We don't need that one, so don't worry about
Okay.
that. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
On our break. See you.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and we are back. Sorry, it took an extra minute to get back. I was way late answering some questions before I took my break, so I had to rush. Sorry about that. Okay. Mm. Huh. Sorry, I'm getting a message from Stan that he couldn't get the class files. Okay. I'm reading in the chat. So you guys, when you write in the chat, you can write personal things to me, which is what I just got a message from a student, and that's fine. You would change that to send it to me. But whenever it's a class question, like I can't seem to find the class file or something like that, make sure to send it to everyone in the chat so that everyone can see if it's a class question, you know, or maybe it's like the button isn't there for me or that kind of stuff. That's all a class question. But if it's a personal thing, whatever it might be, your head hurts, you need to leave, something like that, then you can just send it just to me. It's not like everyone needs to know. But that's two different ways of using the chat. All right, Paula, yeah, what's your question? Did you have a question? Your hand is up. Paula? Can you guys hear me? Hello, Paula? Everyone else can hear me? Yeah? Yeah, so let me just write. All right, so I don't know if you're seeing that, but anyway. Okay. It's right? Not just Karen, everyone else is okay. Give me some more nods. Y'all can hear me okay? Yeah, so then I don't know. Okay. So here we go. Before I share my screen, anything came up for anyone over break that I need to know, perchance? No? Nope. Okay. So sometimes you keep playing with stuff during break and then I need to know. All right. Oh, by the way, I need to head back to Illustrator. Okay. So so Illustrator has tools here on the left side that, especially in this getting started mode, might be just individual tools. So this is the only tool that's there. But sometimes you'll have a tool that has a little arrow, like the arrow that's right under the black arrow is the white arrow. So this is the selection tool. This is the direct selection tool. And they are two very different arrows. And the only way to know that is because they're a different color. But they're two very different tools. But notice that the white or direct selection tool there has a teensy little tiny icon there on its own. If you were to click and hold your mouse down, then you'll discover that there's actually two tools under that one tool. Does that make sense? Now, I do want you to have the top one, which is a direct selection tool, but then go down to some other shapes. And again, you'll see here that this shape has more. You click and hold, and under that regular tool, you also see the star and the line, okay? Again, here under the brush, you have two different kind of brushes, etc., etc. Now, there's not many tools in the getting started mode, but if you were, for example, to jump to the Essentials Classic tool, just every one of the tools has a ton of tools underneath, okay? So it's like the more a lot of tools that have a lot of options underneath. So just know that the first tool is the one that, and I'm going to go back to the getting started. That's just for demo purposes. Just know that if there's a little triangle, it means there's more underneath. Okay, so we're going to start with the good old rectangular marquee tool or the rectangular shape tool, which, as its name and little video it implies, just makes little rectangles. When I click and drag, you're going to make a rectangle. Now, in case you didn't click and drag, in case you just clicked, then instead of drawing a rectangle, you get a box. And a box is asking you to put that shape in by size. And the size it's asking you to use is points. How many of you guys would know how to make a 2 by 2 inch rectangle in points? probably not many, right? So there's a couple of things that we want to do that. A, we can change our measurement style of the entire Illustrator, which is what we're going to do next. Or, and this is a cute one, so everyone, instead of clicking and dragging, which is what we always normally do to make a rectangle, let's just click. And let me show you how to get around any time that your tool, Illustrator, is set up in a style of measurement that you don't know. So I wouldn't know how to make a 2 by 2 inch square from this. Then what you can do is you can erase that right in a 2 and then write in IN, and Illustrator will calculate the difference for you. Then I'm going to tab or click on the next one. I can tab to it or I can click on the next one and again delete it. And I'm going to now go again and say 2IN, and it translated it. And when I say okay, I got my 2 by 2 inch rectangle. So ideally, you won't have it set in a weird way. Ideally, you will have it set in something that you understand. But like for Paul and me, that would be centimeters. And for the rest of you guys, it would be inches. I don't know if anyone else here is of our non-American persuasion of sizes, but you could do that. You could just put CM or IN or, you know, whatever you need to translate whatever is coming up next. So that's one way to make a rectangle. Now, the first thing I'm going to teach you is how to undo something. Control or Command Z. So we're going to undo that thing that we made. So we just made a rectangle that was 2 by 2. This time we're going to click and drag, and now we're going to do Command Z to undo that as well. So once you've been able to make and unmake by making both ways, by numbers with a single click, or Command Z by clicking and dragging, and then Command Z. Once you've been able to make boxes both ways and to undo that last action, then give me a yes. And now we're going to start making some more interesting shapes after that, but I want to get a yes, or if it's not working, give me a no, or tell me what's not working. Sometimes it's the tool's gone wrong, or sometimes it's, you know, needing more explanation, whatever it might mean. As we get more and more into things, please stop me when it doesn't work. Yes, Karen?
Yeah, when I did, okay, I redid it, everything. Yeah, when I did the click and I would put 2 inches, it would flip back to the point thing.
Yeah, so you put 2 inches and then you tab and it translates. 2 inches is 144 points.
Okay,
Makes sense?
okay.
So then if I put 2IN again, 144 points. So, or if
So
I
it
put
won't,
one
is there
in,
any way to convert it
so
totally to?
we will. But this was me showing you how to deal with it
Okay, okay.
in any case, that if it's a not, right? But we need to go
Right.
there's 3 different ways to change the whole document to IN, to inches or to whatever it might be. But there's also in every tool that needs sizes, you can always make it change that way. Okay. I could have written 10 centimeters, right? And you know, if you're non-Argentinian or Brazilian, you might not know what a 10 centimeter is, but the computer certainly knows that that means 283 points. And you're like, well, what does that mean? I don't know. But if you say, okay, then there it comes, right? So it
Right.
just, the computer converts the numbers. That's really the whole point of that. But for many of you guys, you'll never need centimeter and anything else. So then how do we change the document, right? So there's a couple different ways, but the one way that is at the very beginning, we could have changed it, which is ideal. You would change it at the very beginning. When we first made that document, this time we went with by the default setting. This was a letter for print. Letter for print is supposed to be using points because that's the original way of layout, you know, Gutenberg and all that. You know, that's how it all started with points. And if you go to like Word and write in 12 point, you know, Times New Roman, that's the sizing, 12 point Times New Roman. So 72 points is 1 inch. Anyway, doesn't matter. Now we're on the fly. We're in a document that doesn't have points. How do we do it? Well, first of all, I want you all to turn on some rulers. Rulers are very crucial for many things in Illustrator. So how do we turn on rulers? Again, shortcut Command or Control R, or go up to View and go to Rulers and say Show Rulers. Now, I'm showing you how whenever you need to learn a shortcut, it's always there under the menu command. There's the shortcut, Command R for me. If you were on a PC, it would say Control R. Okay. So in this case, I could either do that or I can just do Command or Control R. And my rulers turn themselves on. See how I have rulers on the two sides of the screen? Once you turn them on, they're always on. So if I were to create a new document right now, you don't need to do that. But if I were to make a new one, you need to turn on the rulers again. You see that? So that's the shortcut that every time you want the rulers to be there, you'll have to turn them on. So it's a pretty good one to remember, Command R or Control R. Otherwise, that's where you get them. Now the ruler is set in points, okay? So it doesn't help me much if I want to see the inches. So one way to change the rulers right now, I could go individually to each ruler, or I can go to this little corner where they meet. And I'm going to put my mouse in that corner where they meet, and I'm going to right click and change my document to inches. So suddenly my rulers are in inches, my sizes are in inches. And if I now try to make a shape by clicking, it's going to come out in inches. See that? So that is a quick way on the document already to change it into inches. Otherwise, when I created that new one, I could have over here said make it into inches and then started and created my new document already in inches, okay? But since we had allowed whatever the default template was, it came in points, then that's how you do it. You go to the corner and you change it to whatever sizing makes sense to you, okay? So now if everyone has their document in inches, you can see up here that this is an 8 and a something inches, 8.5, because that would be 9 by, yeah, it's an 8.5 by 11. Okay. Now, depending on the kind of art you do, I don't usually have to do art by clicking and putting exact numbers, but some people, for many people, their art is very geometric. They definitely need to put things by numbers. So I'm gonna, for this class, for the most part, always draw out a shape, okay? Which is click and drag. But now you know that if the same tool gets clicked or drawn out, different things happen. And that'll happen with like 5 of our tools. They do one thing if you click, they do another thing if you click and drag that tool. So for this one, we're going to click and drag. And now finally, let's keep that rectangle that we're making. Instead of deleting it, let's make a rectangle and keep it. Now, the first rectangle that comes out is kind of like, what color is it? What color isn't it? What shape does it have? Well, over here on the far right under properties, under the appearance tab, we get to choose. Right now it's filled with white. Like, really? Is it filled with white? Yes, trust me, later you'll see that it's filled with white. But in fact, you got to trust me on that one for a second until I show it to you. But let me just show you, if I put it out here, it is filled with white. But for now, just trust me. We're going to fill it with something else. We're going to fill it with orange, green, blue, I don't care what. Fill it with something. How do you do that? Going to this appearance fill button and clicking on any of these preset colors and the default palette of colors. At this point, try to avoid the weird ones like gradients and stuff. We'll get there, but for now, just for clarity's sake, let's go for one of the top 2 rows or even the 3rd row. But before you start getting to gradients and other weird stuff that's happening there, you'll learn all about it. But for now, I just want that to be the only set that we use. So it's a solid filled color. Then another thing you can do to it is you can add a stroke. A stroke is like a border. So down here, we get to choose what border we want. But the border size that we have right now is so tiny, 1 point. It's like tiny, 1/72 of an inch, because 1 point is, 72 points is 1 inch. So it's really thin. So for the purposes of seeing how borders work, we're going to click on the 1 point and we're going to choose a really big one. We're going to go with, I don't know, 10 points or something. So we have a pretty thick border or stroke, but it's black. So now let's click on this one here and choose a color for that stroke. And we're going to make this one bright green. Now make the stroke does matter to me. Make it anything except for blue. And the reason is I don't want it blue is because I want you to see this line. And when you make it blue, this line might be hard to see. Okay. So now we have a rectangle that's filled with whatever color you chose, a stroke that's a light tone that's not blue, that's 10 points wide. And now I want to zoom into this image so I can see it up closer. So we're going to do Command or Control, plus, 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 Command or Control, minus, minus, minus to go tiny, Command or Control, plus, plus, plus to go big. Now some of you have your mice set up that if you scroll your mice up or down, things get bigger or smaller, depending on people. There's like 25 bazillion brands of mice that they can do that or not do that. So this one works for everyone. Command or control minus, 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 control command minus, 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 or let's now zoom in a bunch so that we don't see the borders anymore. Let's go one or two beyond where we can see those strokes until we are seeing the fill of whatever color we chose. Sometimes you need to see something up close like this. So then how do I move around to see the sides of it? Well, if you happen to have a touchpad, you can move side to side easily, or if you have a magic mouse, you can move side to side easily. But if not, ideally, when you want to pan around your image, you can hold your space bar down, and the space bar gives you a hand. And with that hand, you can just kind of click and drag your way around until you're at one of the corners. Okay? You can drag your way all around to the other corner or to the other corner. So the space bar always gives us a chance to move around our image at the zooming magnification that we chose. So all of this that I'm doing right now, you should be trying to do with me. And if you get stuck at any point, that's when you basically interrupt me and say, can you repeat that? Or how did I do that? You can just speak up. You don't need to do all these. When I want everyone to be at the same place, when I think that I've done something that needs a specific checking in, I'll ask you guys to say yes or no. But other than that, if I'm leaving you behind right now because you were left in an explanation of a minute ago and now you can't need to catch up, you can just say, sorry, what did we have to do? Just interrupt me. Just you can speak up is what I'm saying. Now, if suddenly you have another thought about something and you want to ask a long question, then you raise your hand and you wait until I'm kind of done with this, and then I'll interrupt and ask your question. All right, so here we are. We're in a corner of this shape that we've created, and this line that I didn't want you to make blue because I wanted you to see this line. This is called a path, and in fact, if I hover over it with my mouse without clicking, you'll see that there's a little pink little tooltip there that says the word path. And then if I go to the very corner of this shape, you'll see that there's a little circle there and a little square right there. And when I try to grab that square, my mouse is turning into a double-headed arrow. So it's not letting me point to it right now. That's because if I click on it, I can actually, and hold on, now let's go back to, the next thing that I wanted to say, 1 second, this path that I was showing you, by default, unless we change it, is always going to appear centered inside of your stroke. Okay, so say that my stroke is, 60 points wide, that path will be centered. Now, why does that matter? And I'm going to go back to bringing it down to the 10 points that I asked you guys. Why does it matter? Let's go ahead and say Command 0. So we're going to fill our screen with our entire image again, Command 0. What it matters is because if I really cared about its size and I really needed it to be, say, for example, 4x2, either I made it 4x2 or over here on the right side of the properties above the colors, here I have another place where I can write its size. So right now this one, in my case, is 4.5 by 2.5. So I could click in here and I could replace that and make that be a 4. And I don't need to write IN or anything because the computer is in inches mode right now, so all I need to do is write a 4. I can tab my way or click on my way to the next thing and write a 2. And then when I want that to have changed, I hit the return and then I get my 4x2 shape. So everyone give me a 4x2 shape. Now, why, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, why it matters for me to tell you about the 4x2 and the path bar is that this shape is measured and seen as if it starts and ends at the path bar. So 4x2 is that line, not that line. Does that make sense? So if you really needed a 4x2 rectangle, but you gave it a 10-point stroke, this is actually more than 4x2. Does that make sense? That measurement that I made is that blue line. Okay? And this is something that maybe I don't point out too much to people who've done Illustrator before, but I thought I'd point that out as something that matters. If I truly needed a big stroke and I needed on top of that to have this be exactly 4x2, maybe I'm making a mandala or something that needs exact, precise locations measurements, you could move that stroke to not be in the center. So where do you do that kind of stuff? Well, over here where it says stroke, it's got a dotted line. Fill does not have a dotted line. So nothing happens if I click on fill. But anything that has a dotted line, if I click on that word, I get some tools underneath that. And in this case, it's telling me that I can align the stroke by default to the middle, or I could align my stroke to the inside or to the outside. Does that make sense? If I align it to the inside, then this is truly a 4x2 rectangle. If instead I align it to the outside, this is a 4x2 plus whatever size 10 points is. Okay? We're going to default it to back to the middle just because that's where it lives unless we change that. But I just wanted to let you know for the people who do need to do things that are actually very precise. Now, again, this is once again for people who have done this for a while. I don't usually come and show this too much. So let me show you that you can also change your corners to be a little bit less tippy, right? So this is the squared corner. It can be a little rounded corner, or it could be a little chamfer. I don't know how you say it in English, a little cut off corner. Okay. So this is all about the stroke, not your shape per se. Okay. So again, the stroke is changing. The shape itself is decided by the path. So the path is still a pure rectangle. Does that make sense? Just your stroke. So we're under stroke changing here. I'm going to default back to the sharp corners, and this one won't make that much of a difference right now. It's for straight lines, and we don't have a straight line. We have a rectangle. But later, if you make a straight line, same thing. It'll have a little corner, rounded tip or not. But for now, that doesn't matter to us. All we have is these two choices. But we do have is a choice of a dashed line. So what if I click on dashed line? Suddenly my stroke looks like a dashed line. Now, by default, my dashed line is always 12 points. So if I make no changes, then I'll have a 12-point meaning. 12 points on, 12 points off, 12 points on, 12 points off. Does that make sense? The fact that it's a 10-point stroke makes it fat. But if this were, say, a 1-point stroke, I would still have that dashed line. You see that? Only it's so thin that you can barely see it. That's why for learning this, I'm making you have a big one. But just so you know, the width of your stroke is changeable always. It's the weight of the stroke is over there. So I'm going to go back to my 10-point stroke. Now, what if I don't want it to be 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, 12 off? What if I want it to be different? So then I can go over here and I can say, oh, I want my gap to be only 6 points. And then I have 12 on, 6 off, 12 on, 6 off. Does that make sense? So you play around with that. This is a little bit niche. How many times do you need a stroke that's dotted? Well, people who make forms, things like that, they might need it a lot. People who make flyers, Sarah, who does that kind of stuff. And for the most part, I like people to tell me. I didn't have time today because I was dealing with other stuff, but I kind of like to know what people are up to. But that's why that the survey is important, because I try to, when people say I'm writing a book or I'm making a website or I make, marketing things or whatever, then I kind of try to point things out for people who are in class specific things. But anyway, so you can change this. You could actually make this be 6. Now you have a 10 point, and then the next gap is going to be 3 points. And next thing you know, you have a bit uneven kind of on and off, whatever. So I'm just going to delete all that, leave it at the basic setup. Now, why am I deleting it? Because if I leave this at a different number, the way Illustrator works is the next time I want to use this stroke, it'll remember the last choice. So I like it to remember the default set for me because I'm teaching, but you guys can leave it at whatever set. Just know that the next time you go and make a dashed line, it will default to whatever last numbers that you wrote in there. Does that make sense? And then the last thing to show you about the dashed lines, just for the fun of it, is that you can have them going around the edges like we have, or you can have them following each other, which in the case of this big line, it doesn't make sense, but sometimes depending on your design, it might make more sense. Anyway, little details like that. Okay, there's more to that. I'm going to stop right there. Oh, let's just take off the dashed line. I want to go to a regular filled stroke.
Do you
And
want
now-
any screenshot?
Oh, that's true. Thank you. See, people who are from my classes know I haven't, and especially because I haven't shown this too much. So this is a good one to do a screenshot of, and also to have you guys show me that you are making a shape and you are following these. So yeah, let's do a quick screenshot. But here's the thing. I don't want a screenshot of this only. I want a screenshot of this, like the work that we're doing, where these things that we're doing are. Does that make sense? So maybe you need to make it start a little bit sooner so that you can see the location that we're in the property. So whatever it takes for you to know how to then come back to this, make a screenshot that helps you figure out where it is that you've created this effect from. Once you do that screenshot, then we're going to go back to the Padlet, and I put the Padlet in the link a few times, but just in case someone needs it one more time, I'm going to put the Padlet in the chat. There we go. And now we're going to go to the Padlet, and I guess I need to close out my other Padlets. And here I go. And I'm going to say Diana, so remember, put your name in there. And then I'm going to upload. Oh, did I not make a screenshot in all of my demos? I guess of all things, I did not make my own screenshot. So here we go. And here's my Padlet. Sometimes I don't get, okay. And stroke can be a dotted line. Click on the word stroke in the appearances properties panel. Okay. All right. Shelley, did you make this pattern? Is that what you're showing us here? Is this a pattern that you created?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did it on my iPad in Procreate.
Oh, I kind of, I was hoping you'd tell me you did it in Illustrator. Okay, still cool, still cool. But I was like, oh, did you do that in Illustrator? I was like wagging my tail.
I'm not there yet.
That's good. Well, never know. All right, cool. So, I'm gonna head back to Illustrator and keep showing you stuff. But ideally, if you can post at a time when I'm helping someone that you know the answer, something like that, or if not, collect all your screenshots and you can post later. But ideally, later you might forget what it is that I was showing. So ideally, if you can kind of post on the go, that's much better. But I also want you to pay attention to the next thing I teach. So if you're going to get distracted, then I'd rather you be listening to my class. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to go back and turn the dash line off. And now I'm going to zoom out a little bit because now it's time to make some extra shapes. So I'm going to go ahead, and if I was already in the shapes tool, and you might have left the shapes tool or whatever, but if you're in the shapes tool, you don't need to keep clicking shapes every time you make a shape. If you're in rectangle shape mode, just click and drag and you'll make another one, and it'll come out with the inherited appearances that you had set up before. So when you make another one and you make another one and you make another one, they're all stacking one on top of each other, or they're going to the side. And yes, we are seeing it even if it's outside the edges of the page. But what if you just want to like move it around, and you're trying to move it around, and next thing you know, you're making another one and you're like, aha, how do I get out of this? Well, you get out of this mode by leaving the tool make rectangle, because when you're in the tool make rectangle, all you can do is make rectangle. Does that make sense? So who remembers what the shortcut was when I told you the most important shortcut that I wanted you to know? What was the shortcut that led us to this top tool? And I kind of gave it away there by pointing to it.
V.
V. So when you're done with a tool, I didn't want to keep making rectangles, hit the V, and that's your selection tool. The selection tool is kind of your hand. Now you can click and drag and move your shapes around. Okay. So when you're in a tool, that's all it can do. It can only make rectangles. So there's only so many rectangles you might want. So now if you created 2 or 3 or 4 rectangles, that too many, let's select and hit the delete key and select the next one, and see that when I select it, it gets all this path, all these things turn on, and the rest don't. So these are the ones that are selected, are the ones that I'm clicking. Well, what if I want to select more? Because I made so many that I want to select more. So for now, I don't know if you made many more, so just do them one by one, but I'm going to show you how to get rid of more. So now let's leave only 2. And now the second one, I don't want it to be pink and green, so I can just, as long as it's selected, I can go over here and I can change the color of this next one. So I'm going to make this next one, I don't know, yellow and green. I don't know. So then the next time I go to my make shape tools, I'm going to make a yellow and green Brazilian flag. So now I can only make that, right? So each time you change it here, that's the inherited color. All right, so now let's go ahead and with two different rectangles, let's change shape because I'm kind of bored of rectangles. Let's get a circle. And it's not really a circle, it's an oval. So when I click and drag, now I'm making an oval of some kind or another. Let's change its color one more time. So we have three different colors. And something cool that's new to you illustrators of your people is that now we have a little tab here with recent colors. We've never had that. And that's kind of fun because if you were choosing a very specific color, you can go and see the ones that you just used. And I was just playing around with different ones. So I can just go back and click on one that I had used and not have to reinvent the wheel in the midst of, sometimes you might have 100 colors in here that you used. And so you can do that. Okay. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to do that again with a stroke. I'm going to go to one of my recent colors and change it there. So now I have three differently colored, and I don't care what colors you chose. I want three differently colored shapes. And now I want us to make a perfect square and a perfect circle, but not with numbers. So how do we do that? I'm going to go back to the rectangle, and to make a perfect square, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and then I'm going to draw a shape, and it's a perfect square. I'm going to go to the circle and to the elliptical tool. It's what it's called in the ellipse tool. And now I'm going to hold down the Shift key. And when I make my shape, it's a perfect circle. Okay. Does everyone have a perfect circle, perfect square, lots of different colored shapes? If so, give me a yes. And if you have any questions, it's a good time to ask. Other than that, I'm going to get rid of two of these, and I'm going to keep only three different colored shapes, and I'm going to stack them one on top of the other. So with three shapes of different shapes and colors, and make sure that one is smaller. Oh, I haven't shown you yet how to change the sizes. I'm sorry, I skipped something very important. Let's grab one of them. I'm going to grab this one out here for a minute. How do you change the size of these shapes? Well, these this is, you can't see the border, the stroke too well. So let me change the color of the stroke to something. The pink is, you can see it. No, it's the color that you can see. So I'm gonna have to change the inside because that's a good color for the stroke. So let me give this that inside. Okay. So the stroke here has all these little white boxes, and those are the boxes that I'm going to use to make this bigger, taller, shorter, wider, fatter, etc. But if I click on the corner one, it gives me a diagonal. Then I do both tall and width at the same time. It doesn't matter which corner. And then there's one more little shape that you might be wondering what it does, and it's that little tiny circle widget in there. That little widget, if I click and drag, is going to make my shape not be a square anymore. When I drag it all the way in, that's as far as it goes, unless if you have a small one, you might have a circle, but if you have a long rectangle, you won't get a circle. And then so if I have a really longish shape, then you'll get more like a little hot dog or something. You won't be able to get a circle. But if you have a small little square, then you might get an actual circle. Okay, so it's just the corners that are pointing in. Now, if I don't want those corners, I grab them again and I just pull it out. So those same little circles, I can just pull them out again, pull them out all the way. I have to not nearby, not gently, like really just drag them all the way out, drag them all the way out. Like my mouse has to go funk for it to finally become a rectangle again. So those are little curvy widgets. Well, what if I only wanted to turn this guy and that guy corner and not those two? What if I wanted that one to be a curve? So you need to click on that little white guy and then click one more time. You're going to click one more time. And now notice that before they were all white, but this one that I clicked on twice, now it is blue. So it's not a double click. It's just click and then click again. Now that it's blue and the rest are white, now you can click again to grab it and move only that one in. So I'm going to just basically, one click is to select it. The next one is to have it separate from the rest. Then I can bring it in. So in the end, it's like 3 clicks. It's just that one is the selection click. The other one's the one where I'm just making little things happen. And then you can make one. By the time I then work on all 4, we have different angles to work with. Does that make sense? So now you have a shape that's not perfectly rectangular. That's fine with me. Now let's go down. And if, by the way, this has been working for you, we don't need a screenshot yet, but I do want to make sure I want to, yes, hold on. I need to clear your answers first. I want to, yes, to make sure that you've been able to select and change the shapes of all these different styles. And if so, I want you to make one of these shapes, maybe this one, quite a bit smaller than the rest. So maybe make another one bigger and this one smaller or something, just so that we have one that's a bit smaller than others. And then make sure that all 3 are overlapping in one way or another. And then give me a yes if you're following me up until now. All right. Anyone need a hand? Paula, no, you're all good. Karen, you're good, Karen? All right.
Yes.
Gretchen's doing great. Gary, you're good. Okay, cool. Let me clear your answers. All right. So what are we going to do with this? This is the most important part, and this is the part where Illustrator begins to become pretty different from any other little, program that you can do vector files with, and it's that we can really begin to manipulate the layers of this thing really, really easily. So I'm going to go over, and remember I told you to put the layers tab in this panel. Now we're going to click on this layers tab, and if you don't know which one it is, hover over it and it'll say layers. It just kind of looks like 2 little boxes, one on top of the other. If you really can't remember which icon things are under, you can go to window and choose layers again with a word, and it'll pop open. Sometimes you have 10 icons here and you don't know which one is which. The window there will always allow you to pop it open again. So here's my layers. And here I've been talking about layers, 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 but I only have 1 layer. Well, guess what? In Illustrator, for those of you accustomed to Photoshop, each one of these elements would be its own layer. And if you have no idea because you don't use Photoshop anyway, if you don't use Photoshop, then you're not surprised. This is a piece of paper with 3 things. If I click on this tiny little arrow that's right next to layer 1, boom, it's going to expand and I'm going to see my 3 objects that are on the layer. So yes, it's only 1 layer, but it has 3 objects, 3 elements. Now we're going to end up with many elements here. So let's make this layers panel a bit bigger, putting our hands just on the bottom part of this document without clicking on any of these icons, just on the bar. We can click and drag it and make it bigger. And now we have our properties over here, our layers over here. So if we were to want to change the color of something, I can change it, but I can also handle the layers. And this is the best way to to have the document open all the time in this mode. All right, so now here we go. What if I want to make and the colors aren't that different here, but you can see because of the shape, my oval shape, what if I want to put it below the rectangle? I can just drag it and drop it and put it below the rectangle. And what if I want to put the rectangle above everything? What if I then want to bring the little tiny one on top? And so on and so forth. We can change the position of all these elements with my layers panel. Yes, there's shortcuts, bring forward, bring backward and all that. But the thing is that when you have a complicated design, those drive you crazy because bring forward, bring one, bring whatever. When you have, 45 elements to make a little flower, that's crazy making. So just use the layers for that kind of stuff. Now, if I need to select this shape to do something to it, when I select it, notice that over here, that object becomes, has a tiny little blue box right next to it. When I click on this one, that one has a blue box. See that? So whatever is selected will have a blue box. So if I click on nothingness here and everything gets deselected, then nothing has a blue box. So another way to select elements is to actually click on this little round button. So I can click on this round button, and that gave me the pink rectangle. I can click on this one, and that gives me the oval, or this one, it gives me the rectangle, which is good news because remember I asked you to make one smaller than the rest? So let's grab that one and put it at the very bottom. And once it's at the very bottom, suddenly there's no way to select it by hand. Like I can select this one by hand or this one by hand, but I can't select the other one by hand, right? So I can always come over here. If I need to move it out, and I can just click on it this way. And that gives me that one. But then how do I grab it? Okay, I selected it, but how do I grab it? If I try to move it, I'm still moving this one. You see, I select that one, I go grab it to move it, but the one that moves is this one. Try that and you'll see what I mean. So when I select something that's hidden and I need to grab it, I need to grab it by the paths which create that shape. So I need to put my mouse on that path and then I can drag it out. Okay. So once again, if something that I need to grab is hard to get now, it can be anything, not just because there's a wheel on top, but if it's hard to get, it's tiny or whatever, and I select it this way, the way to grab it is from its originating path. So the path is everything. The path is what makes a shape, and that's what matters to us. And so now I managed to move it wherever I want because I clicked on the path. I'm going to move it up to the top again. If you're with me and everything is good, give me a yes. I'm going to zoom out. And now with a bit more space on the page, I'm going to make another shape down here. And let's go to another shape that we have, this little polygon. Let's click and make, whoops, a polygon. And of course, it'll be the last one that I touched. Okay, watch. Now it's not about the last one I created. If the last one that I had selected was the ellipse, right? For some reason or another, I had the ellipse selected. Then when I go and create this polygon, it'll look like the last one I touched. Okay, so it always inherits the last element that was selected. So now this one comes out looking like that one. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about opacity and transparency. So this shape, it's the newest one I created, goes always on top. So the first one I created is at the bottom. I might have altered the position right now, but for sure the one that I create is always going to be above everything else on top in the layers. So let's put this one on top of others. And now let's go down here under the stroke and fill. There's opacity. I can bring the opacity down to 50%, 75%, 10%, but the entire thing is changing. The stroke and the fill is becoming transparent. Okay? That's one thing that we wanted to do. We're going to leave it kind of overlapping because over here you just think it's a pale green and a lavender border. You only know it's transparent when it's on top of something else. Okay? So we're going to bring it down there. And now I'm going to make another shape. And wait, I'm going to stop with weird shapes right now. Let's just keep making a polygon. Let's click and make another polygon. But this time, this shape, we're going to fill. And let's go back to white. Remember the first one we made was white? Here we have colors. The first thing that looks like a color is the white one. Now, it almost looks like it's got no fill, but if you put it over stuff, it does. It is an actual white fill. It's not transparent, but you wouldn't notice that if it's out here. You would only notice if it's overlapping other stuff. Does that make sense? And of course, I could have given it a white stroke and then you would think it's not even there. So let's give it a white stroke. And when you click away, you don't even see that shape. But if you hover and pass your mouse over the area, there's a shape. And when you put it over here, oh, it turns out I did have a shape. It just happens to be white. Okay? Now, how about, and I'm going to leave that one there. And just to make it a bit easier, I will give it a bit of a color stroke. There we go, so that we do see it, but we know now that it's white. Let's leave it there. Now let's make one last polygon. And this one, we will actually fill with nothing. So yes, we could have an empty, not filled paragraph. And the very first one, the one that's got the little, cross over it, forbidden sign forever, that means nothing is in there. And now we still have a stroke so we can see it. Let's see what that means. Oh, yeah, it's not filled with anything. If all of this is working for you and it makes sense and you have all your layers nicely set out right here and you have all these shapes set up, I would like a screenshot of this portion now with your layers, please, with your opacity. So over here, in fact, it might be cool to select the one that's a bit opaque, transparent, so that we can see that it says 54%. So that kind of shows us that feature. And let's do that screenshot. And I'm going to go post that one. Change their stacking order. I can drag a layer up or down. I can use the round button to select a specific object. I can change the appearance. Opacity, and even no fill. All right. Cool. And it really helps me to see you guys posting to make sure that you're, kind of catching up. A few of you are posting, a few are going to catch up. But meanwhile, I appreciate that. Oh, there we go. Everyone's putting in their stuff. Remember, Karen, if possible, to try to capture also the layers and the tools, because then if I go over here, I can see that Gary is working on that. I can see if there's an opacity and that kind of stuff. Versus on yours, I just see the shape, which is fine. And look at your little lemon. How cute. Okay. It just helps to get the stuff that we're doing on the side as well. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead, and this one that I showed you as empty and this one that I'm showing you that is filled with white, make sure they're both overlapping with this area down here so that they're overlapping paper, so to say. So this paper that we have here is white, but guess what? That's just for us to be able to see our shapes, but it isn't really white. If I were to print this, but on the printer put red paper, then these shapes would print on red paper. And through this, I would see red. Now, over here, I'm going to go to View. So everyone go to View. And then say Show Transparency Grid. We don't normally design in this mode, but I always show it for people to really get what's happening here. Because really, this shape that's opaque is showing us in the preview opacity with white behind it. But again, if this were to go transparent onto, say, brown craft paper, that wouldn't be the same opacity. Does that make sense? As what we're seeing. And this would look empty. Now this one, for better or for worse, if I have no stroke and no fill, yep, I can have both, no stroke and no fill, then the only way I see it at all is if I hover over it, because yes, the shape still exists, but it has no appearance properties in it. So, sometimes we need a shape that has no appearance properties for structural purposes. We're building around it or something, but we don't want to see it. So it is possible to do that, but for the most part, it's not a typical thing. And so I'm going to keep some kind of a stroke on it just so that we can start to see it. But other than that, you can have something with no fill, no stroke. I'm going to do a, you don't all have to do this. I'm going to do a screenshot of the transparency grid. I'm going to actually, can I do a view? It's hard to get the screenshot of this. Yeah, it did. Okay. View, and just go all the way to view transparency grid. So later you guys remember where to get it from up from the view. Okay. And now it says hide because it's already, because we're viewing it. So now we have to click and say hide for the transparency grid to disappear. So in Adobe, any Adobe program you use, when you want to, they want to show you that there's nothing there, no matter what program it is, that transparency is seen as this check mark, white and gray. That means nothing there. So when I hide the grid, I get to see my paper. Now, something I hadn't mentioned before, but there is a way to fake it. If you have brown craft paper, you can just, there's a way to give it a background. That's that paper. But the easiest way, if I had a brown craft paper, would be to create a box that's as big as my whole thing and assign it a fill that is kind of brown craft paper-ish, so to say. And then you you move it down to the very bottom of everything, and then you'll begin to have an idea of how things are going to work. Okay, but I don't necessarily need that right now. I'm just showing you that. I don't need a screenshot of that or anything. Just showing you that really quickly so that when you design, you see what you're designing on. Okay, so now we have a whole bunch of shapes, a whole bunch of stuff. Let's save this file. We haven't saved it yet. So Command or Control S. And the first thing you'll see is you can save on your computer or on the Creative Cloud. If you save to the Creative Cloud and you have an account with them, be careful because you have about 20 free gigs. So you have a lot of space for free. Well, not for free, you're paying for the subscription. But if you ever stop paying for your subscription or you leave, all that stuff that you leave in the Creative Cloud goes with the subscription. You don't have it anymore. It's gone. So unless there's a reason to use the cloud, it's really good. We're going to use it for some stuff, but I would recommend always to keep the files that you create on your computer. So we're going to say save on your computer. Now, if you're always going to do that at home, then you can just say don't show again so that you don't have to keep choosing save on your computer all the time, right? But I have to leave mine on this way because I'm teaching. But for those of you who always save on your computer, just say don't show again. And then this will never become an issue anymore. Go ahead and say save on your computer at this point. And then for those of you who are on VDI, you're going to have to go make sure that you're still in your Google Drive, My Drive folder. And if you see the path and it looks like you're there, that's fine. Otherwise, go click on my Google Drive, My Drive, Fall. In my case, I've just downloaded the Fall Illustrator class files in my downloads folder. So I'm going to make sure I'm in that folder, and I'm going to call this one First Shapes. And it's going to save into Adobe Illustrator format, AI, which has been around for hundreds and, well, I was going to say hundreds of years. No, for hundreds of months, for many years. It does not mean artificial intelligence. It means Adobe Illustrator. Okay, we're going to save. Talk about something that we've used for years being co-opted by a whole different meaning of AI. All right, so here we have our First Shapes AI. What if we want to now move on to a different page because we've, filled this one up with stuff? Where do we get new pages? Oh, by the way, the layers, if we're not actively using the layers and they're taking up space, we can just click on this little icon for them to expand or collapse, or on the double-headed arrow. Remember, I told you the double-headed arrow always expands or collapses as well. So you can click on the double-headed arrow to collapse and this one to expand, just to get it out of the way for now. And let's make a new, what do we call this? It's not a page. It's those of you who, seniors in this class, experienced members of this class. In Illustrator, you guys are giving me new people a bad example. They might think that no one answers. You guys normally answer, so
Sorry.
someone answers. So this is an artboard, okay? Artboards are what we call each page, all right? So we're gonna it's not equivalent to a page. You'll see it acts a bit differently, but pretty much it's another page. How do we make a new page? So many ways to make a new page. The easiest one right now is to go to the properties panel, but this is important. Nothing can be selected. If something is selected and I look at the properties panel, it's a contextual panel, meaning when I click on a shape, it gives me all these things I can do with a shape. It's one I've been using. When I click on the background, which is basically no shapes but artboard, then it tells me what to do with my artboards, for example, or with my rulers, or with my guides, or other stuff, right? So you'll never see the same thing on the properties. You'll see things based on whatever you're selecting, okay? So right now, I'm not seeing anything that tells me to group something, but if I had more than one thing selected, then I would have a choice for grouping, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a constantly changing panel. And when I have nothing selected, the top choice is Edit Artboards. If I click on Edit Artboards, then my artboard has suddenly become selected. And it has little dots around it and boxes around it. So one thing I can do is I can actually edit this artboard. It was an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. What if I want to make it smaller? So I have just changed my artboard to be whatever, yay, smaller, because I didn't do it by numbers. I'm just making it smaller. I can make it skinnier, wider, and in fact, I can make it so small that I can need my objects hanging out. It's not ideal, but I could. Now I'm going to drag it and make it bigger again. Now notice that I'm clicking and making sure to grab the box to do that. But if I grab stuff anywhere around it, I have my mouse turn into this little icon that looks like a little diving fish or a little whale is what I call it. So we don't want to click yet with that whale. We just want to make sure that we click on the shape itself to make it bigger or smaller or on the corners. All right. So say that I make this about yay size and I want another object exactly the same, another artboard right next to it, and it's the same. Notice that when I hover over this, I get a plus sign right there, or right there, or right there. If I click on this one, plus size, boom, I get a new artboard right next to it in the same exact size and shape. What if I wanted it to appear underneath? Well, I click on this plus size and there it is, an exact same artboard of whatever shape you made it right underneath. Now, what if I don't want this second one that I made? Well, as long as it's selected, because I just made it, I can hit the delete key and it disappears. So in a way, they're acting like shapes, right? It's like I can make them as much as I made a shape because, and now, yes, we're going to use this little icon outside of the plus and minus, and we're going to click and drag, and I can make another artboard just by drawing it out as if it were a shape. I can make a small and thin art one. I can make a big one, and now I'm going to do Command minus so I can zoom out. These are all the artboards that I'm making. So again, if you hover over one of these little plus or minus signs, you can make it give you one identical to the one that you just made. But if you want to make one of your own shape, then you click and drag and make one of your own shape. If you don't want it anymore, you select it and you hit delete. That's the easiest way to make new artboards. But while you're in this mode, all of the artboards are endangered to be, gotten rid of or created. So many times if you just click again right here and you didn't notice that you clicked again, next thing you know, you've made a teensy weensy little artboard right there. So that's an artboard, and that little thing that you left over there, that's also an artboard. So if you see little tiny boxes with numbers somewhere, that's a little mini artboard that you made. So you have to get rid of it. And now it's becoming really hard to get rid of it because it's so tiny. So wait until you see your mouse turn into an arrow, and then you can select it and delete it if you got any of those hanging around. Okay? Why would you ever need artwork?
Diana,
Yes.
sorry, it's not showing to me the plus sign to create the new artboard.
It's possible that your version, Illustrator is changing a lot. So if you don't see these plus signs, then you can go over here to the properties panel. And next to the word artboard's name, you see a plus sign right there. You click on a plus sign. It's going to make a new one of whatever's selected. So if I have that little one selected and I do plus, then it's going to make a new one of that one. Does that make sense? If you have this one
Okay,
selected
yes,
and you
now,
click plus, then it'll
okay,
give you another one of that one.
okay, it's working. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now, why would we have different shaped artboards? No one has asked yet, but these are questions that people ask. So I got you guys put on your thinking caps and ask me things. But one of the people might want to know, why would you need artboards of different shapes? And by the way, when we're done, let's leave this mode. Let's go ahead and either you can say exit over there, or you can hit the escape key on your keyboard, and that gives you back into normal mode. Only now you have all these extra artboards. Many times in Illustrator, you're designing something that is similar, but you need many different shapes for it. So you might need to create a stationery for, branding products. So you might use the same logo, same color, same everything for a business card, for letterhead, for a postcard, for an invitation. And so you might just have one document where you share the same style guides, everything, and then you just make your different object in each one. Or for example, you're making labels for someone who makes homemade jams, and they have 5 flavors, so you make 5 labels and you just do the 5 different flavors, one in each page, you know what I mean? And you're sharing them, and then you do a little branding thing for Facebook and whatever. Now, you got to be careful with that, because what I'm saying is a bit confusing, because if you're going to put something on screen, Facebook, social media, branding, website, you would need different settings on your page than if you were to print it. So for example, labels or flyers. So in that sense, you need to be a bit careful. You can still create them here, but then you might need to change the settings as you export. So I just wanted to throw that out. I talk a lot more about that in my digital design techniques class, where you really get more of a general idea of everything, not just how to use Illustrator. For those of you who are interested, that class starts in, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. I can check. And it's going to be Monday, Wednesdays, 5 p.m. to, I think, about 5 to 8 p.m. or something like that. I don't remember right now the time. I think it's 5 to 8 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. I can check in a little bit and tell you when. But if you want to take that one, I believe it might be full. And if you want to sign up for that one, you need to get an ad order from me. So let me know. Email me if it's full. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue with this. So here we have all our artboards, and now I'm going to continue working on another one of these. But if I ever don't want all these artboards, how do I get rid of them? Well, once again, we head over to the artboards, edit artboards. Now, when you light that up, you select and you delete them. Now, if you're in a different workspace, so over here, I don't have an artboard tool in the getting started, but if you were, for example, in the Essentials Classic, well, then if you see that little shape right there, that's the artboard tool. Then you can also go there and get into artboard tool mode. So it depends always on what working mode you're in, whether you have the tool there. And in this case, I don't, so I had to go into the tools that way. Okay, I had to go into the artboards by going to the properties panel. All right, worst case scenario, when you don't find something here, you don't find something there, you don't find it anywhere, where you go is to window. And in window, you go to the word artboards, and boom, the artboards panel opens up for you. In this case, it opened up a panel that shows me that I have 6 artboards. So go to view artboards, and it'll open up a panel that shows you 6 artboards. If you really are working amongst artboards a lot, then you might want to have this be here so that you can jump from one artboard to the other. So say that I click on, I want to do one or the other, I can select on that and I'll be heading towards that one. Now we're seeing all of them right now, so it's not a big deal, but if I zoom in, command plus plus plus, so I'm in one artboard. If I want to go to artboard 1 or artboard 3, it doesn't seem like anything is moving around, but I am going to that artboard as far as being able to, as far as being able to have it be the one that's selected. Doesn't matter too much, but the reason I'm showing you this artboard is because the numbers of artboards don't coincide with the names of the artboards, which is stupid and silly and confusing, but I just want you to say that I have 6 artboards, And yet I have artboard number 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 6, and 7. And that's because, and I'm going to make it even harder to understand. I'm going to go over in here to edit my artboards, and I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to put this one up there, and I'm moving over there. And suddenly I have only 5 artboards, but there are artboards 1 through 7 over here. And that's because as I create them, the new artboards have the name. So if I might create a new artboard right now, it's going to be called artboard 8. Artboard 8, you see that? But it's only my 6th artboard. I have 6 artboards, but I created it 8, and the 2 that I deleted, it looks like I deleted number 2 and I deleted number 5. So their name stays this way. Does that make sense? It's kind of strange. Just ignore it. Normally, you don't even care what the artboards are called, but in case you do care, and that's why this is so confusing. Hi, Linda. Haven't seen you in a long time. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. All right. So if you want to keep this artboard panel, you could pop it in there and keep it, but for the most part, we don't. So we can just close them. I'm just showing you that anything you pop up, you can put in there. Let's exit the artboard mode. I know you all have very different artboards, so now it doesn't matter. Just do a save. Give me, did I do a screenshot for artboards right now?
Not yet.
Okay, let's do a screenshot for artboards just to see all of our multiple artboards, and I'm going to pop that in there really quickly. And multiple artboards. Access them from the properties panel, but make sure to have nothing selected. All right. Cool. All right. Back to Illustrator. And here we go. So now, what if from the beginning I wanted to create something with panels that are regularly shaped? So I wouldn't be able to do multiple. Oh, I'm seeing your hand up. Sorry, Karen. Your hand is up on.
Yeah, I missed where you got to the artboard panel. I was looking at my other computer.
You mean
where you saw the listing of artboard 1, 2,
so
in the
under window
order.
So the answer to that is always, if you're asking for a panel, everyone, any kind of panel you ever want, it'll be under window, and then all the different available panels they could ever open up.
Okay, under window.
That's
okay.
your artboards panel. Okay, cool. And then you just click on that little X to get rid of it, and it's gone. Okay. So now let's open a new document, but this time we'll try to create it with what we want. It'll have the units we want. It'll have the amount of artboards we want. The artboards will be the size we want. Okay, so let's go and say File New or Command N or Control N. That gives us a new document. And this time, we're going to set some parameters here. So it already has the artboards and the size and the kind of how do you call it, measurement system that makes sense to you. So we're going to choose inches over here. Oh, we're going to go back to print. So it goes back to points. So now we're going to go to inches. Instead of 8.5 by 11, I kind of like to use 5 by 5 in class. For some reason, it works out because then everything fits no matter what. And let's create 4 artboards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're setting all of this up to start with. Does that make sense? If you know, that's what you're going to need. Usually we end up creating more artboards and all these. For usually doesn't work for the examples that we do in class, but it's a good start. Now, if we're going to really print, we might need to do things like bleed and margins and stuff like that. I'm going to ignore all that. I teach all that in the Digital Sign Techniques class. If you have an urgent need to know what these things are, let me know. But that's something that applies simply if you're going to go to the printer, a printing company to print your stuff. And for now, we're just learning how to use Illustrator. So that's like the other class. Okay, so come to the other class or take it in the fall, in the spring if you can't now. So that's it. That's all we're going to create. Let's go ahead and say create. And now it came ready for us to go, but the default arrangement of these artboards is in this 4x4 mode, so to say. Let me bring your, I'm going to lower your hand, Karen. It's funny because you have the like photo of plants with the trellis and your hand appears amongst the trellis, Karen, and it's a bit hard to see. So if you ever see that your hand is up and that I don't see your hand well, let me know. Oh, Linda, I see what you're saying. Okay, cool. I love that. So is that person watching from behind? I hope. That would be great. Yeah, they are. Okay. Hi, person who's interested in the class. All right. So here we go. We've got our 4 artboards, which by the way, at this point, as you see, they're not showing up like you would think pages one after the other. They're showing in this cute little pattern of 4. You could rearrange that order right now. I'm not going to bother. You could rearrange them to be in other orders. Play with the tools that I just showed you and you'll see in one of those the word rearrange. For now, we're going to move on to getting some stuff done. Let me see for a second what time it is. I am a little bit clueless. Wowza. We have about 20 minutes left. Okay. Wanted to know. All right. So let's get to work with a little bit more of those shapes. Let's head over to let's pick up again the regular old rectangular shape. We're going to create a shape by clicking and dragging, not by clicking only. And as you notice, it's forgotten all those settings. It doesn't go back to all the colors that we had before. It starts from scratch. It gives you again the good old white fill. So let's go click over here and give it again any color. I don't care what color, fill it with some color. We're not gonna give it a stroke though. We're gonna take the stroke away. And how do you take a stroke away? By choosing none. Remember the choice of no stroke. So the stroke is always going to be there. It exists, but you just don't make it show by not giving it an appearance property. Okay. So when you want it to appear again, you just give it an appearance property and there the stroke will be, and then you can make it as fat as you want. All the stuff that we did before. But if you just don't want it at all, the only way to get rid of it, there's no stroke. There's just a no property on that stroke. And so then it becomes a non-issue. There's no stroke. All right. So the shortcuts that I showed you how to zoom in and out. If I go plus, 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 minus, 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 let me show you the good and the bad of that. Let's click away from this shape. So let's completely click away, meaning somewhere on the regular desktop where there's nothing selected. So now if I zoom in, command plus, 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 I'm kind of zooming into the middle of nothing. You see that? So if I zoom out, I kind of zoom out, zoom in. If I go command 0, it finally kind of focused on the one place where there's an object, but it's only because coincidentally it took us to the first artboard. But when you're zoomed out like that, say that you have 25 objects here, and you in particular want to go into that one object right there, that, you know, the left petal of the green flower or whatever, the best way is to select it. Let's assume that's a very specific object. We select it. And then when we do command 0, then it zooms into that one object. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do command minus minus again to zoom away. And let's make another little shape over here. And we're going to give it a different color. I don't know, very different, blue. Okay, so now when you click away, and many times you have to take the big approach, the big view of everything, the small approach. Now it's time to zoom in. You don't want to be, you know, zooming into the middle. You select that and then you do command 0 and boom, it brings you right there. Or even better, and this is, whoops, even better. Hold on, I changed the color. Even better than command 0 would be, why is it not changing color? Okay. If I zoom out, is command 1. Command 1 also brings us to 100%, and then it takes us to where we want to go. All right, that's just a little tidbit for moving around. Now let's go back to page or artboard 1. Let's zoom in again. I already showed you layers. let's go ahead and open these layers, and we need to expand the layers by clicking on that, and we'll discover that I just made, let's go out again, a shape on one artboard and a shape on another artboard, and the layers panel doesn't care. They're still all together. Does that make sense? Over here, it kind of made sense that they'd be together because we put them all together. So you're like, okay, I expect them to be together. But then you go over to this new one and you have one shape over there, one shape over here, and this could be a completely different piece of art. I could have made a hedgehog over here and, a mountain over here. And next thing you know, in order of where I'm making my shapes, they are stacked up over here. So what if I make another shape over here? This time, let's go to a tool we haven't used yet. Let's click on this rectangle tool and choose the star, just to have a very different shape. And let's make a star on this second artboard. And I'm going to fill it with a different color so it's very clear in our stuff over here. Not only is it a different shape, but it's a different color. And then we're going to go make an ellipse and make a circle over here. And again, I'm going to give it a different color. Okay. So I have 4 very distinct. This one isn't so distinct from that one. Let me give it a even more distinct color. Green. There we go. So I have 4 very different colored, very differently shaped shapes. And yet over here under the layers, they're all in one same boat. Kind of doesn't make sense, does it? It's a bit weird. So once we get to needing different artboards where we're creating a very different thing here than here, then we can start thinking about creating different layers, or there's different reasons to do that. But, and I believe, Moni, does your hedgehog have different layers? No.
Yeah, it has lots of layers.
It has layers, not groups?
It has both.
It has both? Okay. So let me give you an example. For those of you who downloaded the class files, let's go open Moni's hedgehog. So let's go to File, Open. And amongst the class files that we have, one of them is called the hedgehog carrying something. I don't know the whole name of it, but hedgehog carrying fruit basket. There we go. And this is in honor of that Moni did this last class. Here we go. Now, if you get this mess, the document uses fonts not available on your computer, don't worry. For now, we're not going to replace fonts. We don't care. Just say close to that window. Last thing we need right now is to deal with that. Then it tells you that you can automatically activate a font used in the document. I don't even want to go in there right now. So if that's here, just for now, say skip. And here we are. We are in a fully formed document. Give me a yes once you've opened it. So the yes for making sure that you have, oh, Linda, you wouldn't have this file because you didn't download the class files, I assume, but you got.
Diana, I'm running into problems where my computer keeps on this loop of they're trying to verify access to these files. So it's like I have to
file, not to the
verifying access to fall, that fall 2025 Illustrator class files.
Okay, stop your share and let's see where you're opening from. Go ahead and share your screen so I can see what's happening. You might not be opening from the right place because you downloaded the class files, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I put them in a particular file on my computer.
Go ahead and share your screen and I'll help you.
I know, I'm trying to, oh, here
Meanwhile,
you
the
are.
rest of you open some layers, close some layers, play around with it for a bit. You can't mess it up too much because if you do, you can always download the new one again, right? So don't worry too much about messing it, but enjoy the document while I help her. Okay, so let's go ahead and say file open. And first of all, can you go to your Windows Explorer?
Now it's just busy. It keeps on wanting to do that. When I went to
Okay, so can you go to your Windows Explorer? Can you share your Windows Explorer? I don't know if you're sharing. I think you might not be sharing your entire window with me. I think you're sharing only Photoshop. Sorry. That's my. Okay, open your Windows, your file. Explorer down here. Let me get my note, my pencil tool. Okay, yeah, there we go. Did you move it?
I moved it into a
Hold
particular
on.
file that I like to keep everything in.
You put it in your desktop?
I'm going to it here in Photoshop,
It's in,
Illustrator Fall 225.
okay, and it's still zipped. So go ahead and select that and let's extract it. Double click on that to extract it. There we go. So now it's going to make sure to, or click extract all. The first, I'm not sure by double clicking if you actually extracted it, go back one, because sometimes they extract, there we go. So go ahead and say it extract now. Yeah, say extract all up at the top. Yeah, and then go ahead and say extract down here. And it'll extract into the same folder. Okay, so that might be what happened. Let's go back to Illustrator to see if that'll do it. And if not, I'm noticing that your desktop has an X on it. That's what confuses me, like you don't have access to it. And it's possible that you told Illustrator not to access your files on the desktop. When Adobe first opens, it asks you, can you let me access such and such folder? And if you might have thought because of privacy to say no, then your computer doesn't have access to it, in which case we need to change it in the settings. But go ahead and say file open.
It won't let me. You can see how it's
Doing
got that.
You're still, yeah, I see your circle is still.
I think I have to kill Adobe Illustrator totally
Yeah, and if it asks you to
to
save,
get out of this loop
it's not a
thing.
big deal. Yeah, go ahead and try. But if it's in that mode, it might not let you kill it. Yeah, it's not responding. So close the program. And then after that, let's check in here again. This is the part that I don't understand. Why is your desktop have an X on it? Like, what's the issue with it? Because
Now it's opening, yeah.
that's what's strange.
Okay, so
Anyway, meanwhile,
probably if I go into.
well, just go in there, go open the folder, just open the folder and open, no, you already extracted, so cancel that. I think you already had this done, so go ahead and cancel that. Over here, the cancel is down there. Yeah, and then now go back. If you want to open it from the File Explorer, you can go to your File Explorer again and open the file, the Hedgehog file straight from there, because I want to see if it's if it's access issue or not. So go back to your desktop, find that folder again. Photoshop, Illustrator, and then go to this one. You can get rid of that one, which is the zipped file at this point. Whichever, no, no, it's the other way around. Sorry, you opened the wrong. Go to, yeah, later you can get rid of the compressed zip. Right now, go into that one, yeah, the decompressed one. Okay, double click again. And then I go find the hedgehog and let's open it from there and let's see if it does. It should open straight into Illustrator. Go ahead and double click, but Windows machines sometimes do weird things with that. Yeah, it is opening it, okay. It should work. But again, the fact that it says X is what's confusing me. But since you opened it from the Explorer, it'll be fine. Sometimes, see, oh, I guess it was just a crash. Okay, say okay to that. And then you're done. You're in. Let me stop your share. Cool. So guys, sorry about that. Let me share my screen again. And here we go. Illustrator. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is a little bit, show you around what it would look like to have more layers. In this case, you seem to have one artboard only. Yeah, I'm zooming out to see she has only one artboard. But what she's done here, and I'm not saying it's the right or the wrong thing to do. I'm just going to show you some stuff. First of all, I'm going to turn off eyeballs on stuff. When you turn all these eyeballs off, you stop seeing all the details of whatever eyeball you're turning off. And in this case, a lot of people would have created this as one layer. A lot of people would have created these as subgroups. We're going to teach you all these choices and then you make your choices about it. But in this case, she does have 6 different layers. Some of them are locked, meaning she doesn't want anything to move. And you can see them on and off, right? And so this is her signature way down there. You see Monica Bucher, how do you pronounce it? Butcher?
Booker, yeah.
Booker, thank you. I thought so, but I thought I've known you for a long time, and I don't think I've said your name before. Monica Bucher Smith. And so that's just her signature. See, if you turn this eyeball on and off, it disappears. So for now, let's do that. Now,
Deanna, I think we're just seeing the Padlet.
Yeah, I'm also not seeing the
thank you
hedgehog.
for mentioning that. Let me reshare. And now, are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks for saying that. By the way, see, Moni, experience, she told me, when you guys don't see what I'm showing, tell me immediately. I have no idea. I'm assuming I'm showing the right thing. Don't hesitate and just speaking up. All right. So every eyeball, this is her fruit basket right there. This is her hedgehog itself. This is her grass, and this is the borders, and this is the ground. Okay. And within that, let's say that you open the hedgehog, then there's the face, the paws, the foot. So I'm going to turn everything off. I'm just dragging down. Okay, so I'm clicking and dragging up so that all these eyeballs turn off really quickly, right? And then, by the way, this one here, since it's locked, you won't be able to do much about it. For now, how do we unlock it? Let's just click on the lock and boom, we've unlocked it. Okay, so now you can turn all these eyeballs off so that they turn off. And now we've got a little fruit basket hanging out in the order, and you can start turning off things individually. Fur, right? And then one ear, another ear. So I'm thinking things like that. So each one of these is its own little group. And inside of the groups, you have the different parts and pieces. But the whole thing put together, when you turn on these eyeballs on, that makes the hedgehog. Okay? Look at the cute little face. You open the face, and she has the nose, the eyes, the ears, the two noses, and da. So this is what we're going to end up building, like more complex elements. Which is why, if say that the one thing that you're trying to work on is this little blade of grass, and I'm going to just unlock everything because I don't know what's locking, then I just want to be able to go to that one little blade of grass, see how easy it is to have all these other things appear and not appear in the way. So it's much easier if I want one eyeball or whatever to go in here and say, I want it, the paw, to select the paw from there, from the layers, versus having to select the paw or the little blade of grass or that little cloud or whatever from the element, especially if you don't see it. So we want to work basically with our layers and our stuff open the whole time. I just wanted to kind of point you towards the future, things that we will be doing, and to see the reason why we're doing this. I do believe you had and showed, when you showed the original document, at some point you had other animals on the sides or something like that. I don't remember. Maybe not this one.
Maybe I had different parts and I just deleted all of the different parts.
That's the point I was going to say. So what I would do in a document like this, if I were creating something like the hedgehog, and this is how we're going to be working, we're going to have the main thing that we're drawing in the first one. And then over here, we might be creating the eyes, the tails, we'll be learning about opacity, things. So we'll be creating a bunch of artboards to make stuff that then we go and incorporate into the main drawing. Does that make sense? And then that main drawing that we're making will have all these parts and pieces. And so in that case, then it's good to separate them and to not have all the pieces bunched up together like we had in this one. When you have a lot of pieces, I mean, by the time you open every one of these things, she has hundreds of elements here. You want to have organized stuff. And now let me have you open one more file. Let me have you guys go to file open, and I believe, which one was it that was not organized? Because I did make this one organized. Oof. I had one that was very disorganized, and it might be this one, although it's a simple file. Shoot. I might have made a mistake of getting rid of the one that was disorganized. I wanted to show you a file that's not organized, and we're going to work on organizing it. Let's see if it's this one. I'm not sure if it's this one, but let's open that one. Flowers group practice, and we're going to be working on this one next week, or maybe it's the hill. This is, yeah, it's the, okay, let's open the flowers group. I think that's the one. Let's open it up. And as you can see, it opens up into a very zoomed in point. So I'm going to do, what's the shortcut to fill the screen? Come now.
Control 0.
Controller Command 0. Yay! And she's Sarah. She's a newbie. Thank you. I'm so excited. All right. And so here we have one layer. And when we open it up, haha, that was the right one. Bazillions of elements. Okay. So this is the opposite of the hedgehog, where I can just go right in there and right into the face and right into the nose. It took me a second to find the nose. If I go into this one, it's like, which one is this one? Which one is that one? Which one is which one? Does that make sense? So next week, we're going to be talking about not only creating all these elements, in fact, we're going to recreate this document, but we're also going to be grouping the left flower versus the right flower. Maybe they need to be different colored flowers versus the leaves versus the little bits and pieces, okay? Because otherwise, yeah, it can get big, pretty, crazy, very fast, even on a single document that has very simple elements. There's like, what, 3 elements here? Kind of the fried egg type of flower and the leaves and the background. That's it. And yet, look, how would you know which of one of these is the center of which flower? Okay. So we're going to start working on creating and making shapes that are more meaningful than these little squares and rectangles as we learn how to work with Illustrator. I have, I'm going to close that one for now. Let's go back to the one that we made over here. We can close or not. You can keep enjoying the hedgehog, but we can close this one and let's go back to this one where we made a bunch of different elements. And let's click on the first one and then Command 0. So that takes us straight into the first page. And I want to talk to you just a little bit about this contextual panel or whatever. I just have a couple more minutes to help you. And then those of you who are on VDI, please wait because I need to show you how to back out correctly. So don't leave in a hurry. So here we're gonna use this conceptual toolbar to notice that I've been pointing you to the properties toolbar this whole time, but the contextual toolbar is made to give you what it thinks are the top hits of what you might want. And if I have a basic shape selected, one of the top hits would be that I might want to change its color. So you see over here, I could have been clicking on that and choosing to change its color right then and there. Does that make sense? That said, it doesn't have that many other options. If I click over here, that's the stroke, and then it tells me how big or not I want to make the stroke, and I'm making it really big or really small. So you can operate it with a little slider, and then, but that's it. But it's not really allowing me quickly to change the color of the stroke. So, you know, I'm going to go back, but then I'm like, well, how do I change the color of the stroke? So I would still have to go over here. So these contextual bars are great, but they're kind of weird in that the top hits aren't necessarily what you're looking for, but when they're there, they're really good. And then right next to it, I have this rectangle properties. And when I click on that, then it gives me, again, the corner, the radius, basically these things that we were doing, we're removing those kind of things. So I don't know, I prefer using it and doing it this way, but if you needed a particular radius because it was a number, you could have gone to it over there, or you can do it over here. You can say what size it is, et cetera, et cetera. So these are things that might be useful or not. This one we're going to learn next week. I haven't shown you yet how to use that one. So for now, just for being ready for next week, we're gonna save this file as well. We're gonna call this one Command or Control S. We're gonna call this one again, save on your computer. We're gonna call this one General Practice because we're gonna be doing a few more general practice things on this one. And I teach you a tool and then we're gonna apply it to something. Save that. And then you always get the second window that says version, and the newest you can save is 2020. And the whole point of this is that you can use Illustrator all the way from 2020 to 2025 to open this file. So you're making it more compatible. But if you were to own Illustrator 2016, then you wouldn't be able to open this file. This is only compatible down to 2020. You could make it compatible with older stuff, but then you'll stop being able to have to do certain things with it. So that's the, unless you really have an old version of Illustrator for some reason, then you should save it like that. say okay. So basically, you basically automatically say okay to that normally, and don't think about it too much more. And then for now, what I want you to do is to practice making shapes, play around with trying to make. So here's your homework. Try to make something out of these shapes. So something could be that you make three little circles here and you give me a Mickey Mouse face. You can make, you know, a snowman. And some of you guys are going to make, you're going to come back with like, you know, a whole village. I don't know, because knowing you guys, you could come up with some crazy stuff. But let me show you that I'm going to go to file open again for a second, that in the handouts, I have a lot of little shapes. If you look at them, they're PNGs that it might be a bit too soon for some of you guys who are very new to this, but I have images that are relatively simple. This one for people who, this is your first day for Illustrator, this is not simple. But if you're not new, this might be simple. I want you to begin to recreate these. You're going to get to the point where you're going to be recreating all of these and it won't be even an issue. But for some of you guys, maybe even this one, if you're really new to Illustrator, you might still even be able to create something, maybe not with the hand-drawn effect of these houses, but with a rectangle and some little rectangles inside and the little circles. I'm going to show you much. You'll be able to do that, no questions asked, by next class. But by now, give it a try. Push yourself to try to create something out of what we already have been doing. Okay. Yes, Moni?
Did you show everyone about the history and about
Oh,
undoing things?
undo. All I did is Command Z. So if
Okay.
you make something, yeah, you make something that you don't want, then you Command Z. But I can't Command Z my way around undoing this star that I made seven times ago without undoing other stuff. So say that I wanted to get rid of this rectangle. If I do Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, it's undoing one by one all the different things I've been doing up until we get to the place where I finally get rid of that star. But look, I'm Z, 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 Z. Finally, I got rid of the star. Meanwhile, I got rid of my entire document by doing that, right? So I don't want to do that. Good news is I can still redo. I can do Command Shift Z, 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 and I'm redoing everything I did. So Command or Control Z is undo. Shift Command or Control Z is redo, and then I am back to where I was. Okay, so for now, that's all I'm going to do. There is a history window that we're going to learn S3, but if you want to play around with it and open it, go to Window and History. Here comes the history. Those of you who are accustomed to history in Photoshop, this is a good one to have, and I like to have it at the very, 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 very top of my toolbar above everything else. And it's this little guy with a backwards arrow, like you can repent, you can go back in time. That's your history. All right. Now, I was ready to leave, and I hate staying longer than necessary, and especially people have things to do. So I apologize. Those of you who need to stay, please stay. Everyone else, we are done for today. Practice, post your practices on the Padlet. Ask me stuff if you need, and I'll be checking the Padlet during the week. And have a great time. VDI people, you guys hang in there for a second. Go ahead and maybe Sarah, since you're newer and this is totally new to you, why don't you share your screen and I will show you how to back out of VDI. And Paula has done it once now. She can watch and do it as we follow along. Bye, everyone else. Bye, Linda. So what did your friend think?
I'm going to ask and find out. Hopefully, I'll have a new recruit.
What do they want to learn? Are they totally new or are they?
No, very proficient, but new to the cloud.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
All right, because this is our first day ever, so it was very basic, but I'll just start, we're gonna start moving. Everyone who's new is very good level, so this class is gonna go fast. I like that. So that's good. All right, let me know. Bye. All right, unless you want to stay and ask questions. Okay. Where were we? Sarah. So first of all, close each one of these files. If you save them already, you can click on the little X, yep, to close them. And say save. And then that one is nothing, so you don't need to save that one. Okay, now you close Illustrator. It's best in VDI to close everything here. Yeah, because I'm sorry, I forget that you're a PC. No, you don't. I know you're PC people. Don't close it from there. It's kind of weird. Hold on, let me give you a light. Here we go. So for PC, you close it from that X, believe it or not, as opposed to the Mac. Yep. Okay, now you're still in the school computer, but before you let go of school computer, you have to, and this is the most important thing, you need to listen to me. And this one, everyone gets wrong the next day. So hopefully you won't. You need to sign out of your Google Drive. So that's one of the main things. Now, the Google Drive on the PC computer is kind of weird. I'm not seeing your taskbar down here. Where did your taskbar go? Oh, okay. Yeah, there
It
we
was
go.
off screen. Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and see if it's down there. Okay, but hold on. Let's go
Oh,
first. Check
sorry.
before you do that. Check on this little arrow because this is where it used to be, but it has. Yeah, so here's quick access to your Google Drive that's always running because it's been running. So click on that. There we go. And then you can go over here to the little gears tool. Go to preferences. You could quit, but I find that when people quit, sometimes it's not as good as. Now go back there again. And this time it'll choose disconnect account. So you basically go to the preferences twice and you disconnect the account. That seems to be a better solution than quitting for the next day. And now you can quit that. Okay, so now then you are done. It's disconnected. So it's great. No. We want to leave it off.
But yeah, no, that just popped back up.
Okay, got it. Because it's
Yeah.
trying to open and this is good. No, leave it where it is. Leave it exactly where it is. Why? Because then this is what's supposed to happen. Next time you sign in, it's going to
Okay.
prompt you to sign in again. And you don't want to sign in until you start a new session. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Versus if you quit, it'll lie there dormant and you'll have to open it up. So by
Okay.
disconnecting, it sits there going, open me again. But it doesn't matter. Had you quit, it's not a big deal. You would just have to find and search open Google Drive again. All right. Now we got to close this computer. So how we do that? We go down to this little Windows icon at the bottom and we turn the power off on the school computer. Shut down. Cool. And once it's done shutting down, say okay or close. Now you need to get out of VDI. So go up to this top icon right there and say log out.
Okay.
And out you go. So that's when you come in, you first sign into VDI, which is this. Then you sign into the desktop and then you open Google Drive. So to back out, you disconnect from Google Drive. You sign out. You won't have to do all the Adobe sign in, all of that anymore. The only thing you need to sign in each time is VDI to start with, and then Google Drive. And if you
Awesome.
don't sign into Google Drive, when you try to go get the files, they'll be there and they'll say that they're corrupted, and then you have to sign out and sign in, and it's this big. So just do a clean sign into Google Drive each time, and you'll have no more issues. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Very nice meeting you. Hopefully this
Nice
was
to meet you.
useful. And
Yeah. I'll see you next week.
see you next week.
Yay.
Take care.
Bye, Deanna.
Okay. All right. Bye, Linda. Unless you have anything you want to ask me or say. Nope. Okay. Bye.